All right. Trainer,
Present.
Tribble. Oh my God. Give me a second. I'm sorry. My computer's like not working. Okay. Mole,
Here.
Podier, Moda,
Present.
Kira,
Present.
Nimbargi,
Present.
McClellan,
Present.
Millington,
Present.
Richard. Sorry. Temple,
Present.
Capozzi,
Present.
Caldwell,
Present.
Spalding, Castillo, Parmar,
Present.
Simcoe, Wanjin, Domino,
Present.
Foster,
Present.
Sheila. I'm so sorry. Okay. Becerra, Gail,
Present.
Yalamanchili,
Present.
Heightskill,
Present.
Demarla, Patel,
Here.
Uchoa,
Here.
Harrell,
Present.
Borges, Berekman,
Bergman. Present.
Almanar, Anderson, Castellan,
Present.
Hall,
Here.
Holmes, Costas, Martin,
Present.
Saucedo,
Present.
Tache, Brenner.
Here.
37 out of 42, quorum is verified.
Alrighty. Pledge of Allegiance, none. National Anthem, none. Oh, well, all right. Approval of the minutes. Everyone, please take a look at last meeting's minutes. If there are any objections, let me know. If not, I will take a motion. Senator Palmer.
Motion to approve last minute.
There's a motion to approve last meeting's minutes. Are there any objections? Seeing none. Approve the agenda. Please take a look at the agenda here tonight. If there are any questions, let me know. If not, I will take a motion. Chair Temple.
Move to approve tonight's agenda.
There's a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Are there any objections? Seeing none. Open forum. Are there any individuals wishing to speak in open forum? All right, so we'll just go in order. So the furthest here, you're welcome to come up. You have a minute 30 whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready. Yeah. All right, you already know who I am. I'm not going to waste any time, but I just want to comment on something that you probably already you guys already know about. Matt Walsh is a vile political commentator. He spreads a bunch of transphobic rhetoric, and because of this rhetoric, he started launching a harassment campaign against a children's hospital in Boston, which eventually ended up leading to a bomb threat being threatened on the hospital. Luckily, it was a false alarm, but he used the defense of it being a false alarm to classify that it was fake. False alarm means that it happened, but it didn't end up going through. No one ended up bombing the hospital. They just threatened to bomb the hospital. But I want to say that these types of people, going on campus would invite just, again, people who are willing to, launch bomb threats on children because, the hospital provides gender reaffirming care. So I just wanted to say that inviting such a vile person would invite a bunch of vile people who would probably, who pose a threat of, risking the safety of transgender students. So it is a safety concern. It's not a free speech concern. You guys don't got to worry about getting sued. FAO, I'm not sure where it is at right now, if it still needs to be reviewed by FAO, if we're going to talk about it tonight. But wherever it is, please consider against this, please. I'm begging you. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Minute 30, whenever you're ready.
Question. I have another student that couldn't be here because they were sick. Could I read their statement?
Yeah, you'll be able to.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll do
Okay,
it.
thank
We'll
you.
kind of do your minute 30 and then we'll do your
Sure.
binary.
I'm going to start off with a student who wasn't able to be here. They were sick. Hello, my name is Evan Rue Cox. My apologies for not being here in person, but I'm sick. I'm writing this because, simply put, I am a student who feels extremely unsafe at the idea of Matt Walsh coming to campus. He is best known for encouraging his fans and followers to send bomb threats to children's hospitals, which by definition makes him a terrorist. I would like to formally ask FAO Chair Millington to bring this matter back to reconsideration to her committee, as UCF should not be funding a terrorist in any way, regardless of if the paperwork was filled out correctly. It puts students in danger and it's just plain wrong. Thank you. And now mine. I'm speaking against FAO Bill 5323, which begins to introduce Matt Walsh, not only controversial but bigoted reactionary spokesperson who has a platform around people who adore to hear that the only everyday oppression that a woman faces in an urban center is that men spread their legs and that they are complimented at work. I'm calling on this student body to introduce a solution, legislation so that there is no funding provided for any political speakers whatsoever. Because whatsoever, UCF student funding should not go for any spokesperson for any parties or any groups who do not align for the majority or the views of all students, despite of free speech. Thank you.
Alrighty, is there anyone else here for open forum? Seeing none, announcements from the student body president. I believe it's Deputy Chief of Staff Sabrina.
Hi, everyone. So I'm filling in for Daniela today. We had our first voter registration event of the semester last week, where over 15 students registered to vote. Tomorrow, we will have our Rose and Garden Planting Day from 11:30 to 12:30, hosted by Nicole Boysen. And Coffee with the Cop will be hosted on September 22nd from 10 to 12 at the Student Union Starbucks. And that's it from Daniela's report.
Alrighty, are there any questions regarding the president's report? Seeing none, announcements from the student body vice president, none?
None.
All right, comptroller's report.
The CRT current account balance is $490,905.85, and the reversion is 0.53%. And the FAO current account balance is $271,942.61, and the reversion is 0%.
Alrighty, any questions regarding the comptroller's report? Chair Go.
It's not the comptroller, but I had a question for the president's announcements. It says.
Okay, you're good. I'm sorry, I maybe had.
Oh no, yeah. It hi. It says Coffee with a Cop will be hosted on the 22nd of September. Was that today? Because today's the 22nd, so I'm not sure what the date is.
It's going to be next Thursday, so a week from today. What date is that? I don't even know. 29th. Sorry, guys. It is the 29th, so a week from today. I was wrong on there.
Alrighty, are there any other questions regarding the comptroller's report? Seeing none, cabinet forum? No? All right, I don't. All right, I'll read it out. From the Senator Barrickman.
The Rose and Garden Planting Day, was that last week?
It got rained out, so we rescheduled it to this week.
Okay, thank you.
Alrighty, with that, are there any other questions for the president's cabinet? Seeing none, thank you. You're good. You're good.
Sorry, the Attorney General.
Oh yeah, you want to read it?
Sorry, I didn't realize that was. I didn't realize
You
I was
were
on the
there.
cabinet
Cabinet
forum.
Attorney General's report.
Hello, Senate. I submitted recommendations for revision for part of Title 3 this week and sent them to this Office of Senate President Pro Tempore. I've also started working on recommendations for Title, sorry guys, I don't know how to read numbers. 8. Met with Chair Gohl and Supervisor McGregor to discuss Title VI revisions and attended ENA this week to offer some more statutory insight into a couple internal bills. As usual, if you would like to request an official opinion, please utilize this form. And that's it. Thank you.
One second. Are there any questions for the Attorney General's report? Seeing none, you're good.
Thank you, guys.
All right, announcements from the Chief Justice. Chief Justice Carroll.
Okay. Hello, Senate. Just a quick couple things. First off, judicial website updates have been finalized and will hopefully be updated next week. Also, shout out to ELA DeMarla. She came to our general body meeting this past Wednesday. We talked a little bit about the dean meetings and also some accessibility initiatives. So yeah, that's it.
All right, are there any questions for Chief Justice Carroll? Seeing none, thank you. Announcements from the Supervisor of Elections, none. Announcements from the Activity and Service Fee Committee Chair, none. Announcements from the Scholarship Committee Chair, Vice Chair Robbins.
Took the unconventional way back here. Sorry, I completely forgot I was doing this. It has been an interesting couple hours. Sorry, I'm wasting everyone's time. Hold on, I'm almost there. Okay. Hello, everyone. This past Monday, the Scholarship Committee opened discussions to alter the requirements and allocated funds towards each of the SG scholarships. Voting on those changes will be made soon, but for now, we're focusing on making sure each one is discussed so that we can fit everything into our new budget. As far as marketing goes, the chair and I recently met with Director of Comms, Sierra, to discuss creating a plan to help advertise scholarships better. Overall, making sure that the SG-sponsored scholarships fall into the right hands and are advertised accordingly. In the coming weeks, we will continue to discuss and vote on the student government scholarships, and our goal is to have all 26 of them edited and uploaded by mid-October, so that's in like 2 to 3 weeks. If you or anyone else you know of or in RSO leadership, I know you guys are all really plugged in, which is great. If any of them want to make a scholarship or are interested in talking with us about that, our form is in the drive that I've been sending out in the Senate-wide chat. And yeah, please just reach out with any questions.
Are there any questions for Vice Chair Robbins? Seeing none, thank you. Alrighty, announcements from the Senate President. Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday once again. I just want to take a little bit of time to shout out all of our committees and caucuses for all the great work they do. I know that today our Hispanic Latinx caucus put on the Afro-Latin Unity event out in front of the Student Union, and that went really well. So congrats to Chair Saucedo and Vice Chair Becerra on that. I also was able to sit on the Black Caucus today, or Wednesday, and Chair Holmes and Vice Chair Castellan did an amazing job kind of helping a lot of our Black RSOs with learning the ins and outs of fiscal policy. Also, thanks to the fiscal chairs for being there. And just for everyone continuing to do another great week at Senate. Last thing I just want to talk about, I know that Pro Tem Foster kind of plugged his last week, even though I made it first, I just forgot to, was that the Office of Speaker has set up a meeting request form for both all SG agents and the wider UCF community. So please feel free to fill it out. If you would like to have a meeting with myself, the ELA, or the ILA, or any combination of the three of us, it's a great way to talk to us, whether it's an issue or just something that you're passionate about, want to hear more about, or learn more about. As I said, it's open both to all SG agents as well as the wider UCF community. So any student, faculty, or staff can also make a request if they would like to with that. I know I also didn't put it on here, but just to kind of talk about in the coming weeks, I am hoping to work with ELA DeMarla and Deeser Patel a little bit about how we can kind of start incorporating more social events and things like that. We will have Senate retreat and whatnot later in the year. But there are a lot of opportunities coming up, some volleyball games, soccer games, as well as just different opportunities here on campus that we would be able to kind of go potentially as Senate. So that could be fun. With that, are there any questions? Seeing none, I'm going to go see a lot of people. I'm going to go ELA DeMarla first.
Present and voting.
So note at 7:25 p.m., Chair Wanjan.
Present and voting.
So note at 7:26 p.m., Chair Holmes.
Present and voting.
So noted at 7:26 p.m. Chair Borges.
President voting.
So noted at 7:26 p.m. Are there anyone else present and voting? Seeing none. Internal legislative report, ILA Alamachili.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and hello, everyone. We had our first SGLC meeting today in these chambers from 5 to 6 p.m., although the meeting time would normally be from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. I was quite excited to meet all the SGLC members. They were quite excited to begin the program as well, and they received their folders and the materials and other things that we had to get the program going. I would say that the meeting went quite well and that it was a good success, though it was a little chaotic when setting up at first, and it is a lesson that I aim to learn so that the next meeting does not begin so chaotically, because this was my first time helping organize the SGLC meeting. I'm grateful to all the members of Senate who sat in on the SGLC meetings, and to members of other branches as well. I'm also grateful to Speaker Hall and Pro Temp Foster for introducing themselves and the legislative branch and being the face of the Senate to the SGLCers. And I hope that next week's meeting goes great as well. Thank you.
Are there any questions for ILA Alamachili? Seeing none. External legislative report, ELA DeMarla.
Hi guys, I hope you had a great week. I met with Chief of Staff Brandon this week. We discussed advertisement of open seats and possibly starting SG Scoop again, which I know Ethan's very excited about. On the topic of graphics, if you need something posted on the SG Insta, instead of contacting like the Director of Communications herself, just send it to me so we can have one more effective channel. And then we'll be able to streamline it better. Just makes us more coordinated. I also went to a judicial meeting and met all our amazing justices. We talked about dean meetings and my accessibility and inclusion initiative. I am continuing one-on-one meetings, so please do schedule them with me. I'm excited to talk to you all. And then after that, we're able to have group discussions and pick our group leaders and actually move on to our dean meetings.
Alrighty. Are there any questions for ELA DeMarla? Seeing none. Senate President Pro Temp report, Pro Temp Foster.
Yeah, hope everyone is doing well. So first order of business is you should have received the email from the Office of Events and Engagements regarding the Student Leader Family Weekend reception. I've been rambling about it for a lot, so it's really important to me, and I really want to see you guys out there. It's going to take place next Friday at the Burnett House where President Cartwright lives. If you didn't receive the invitation, definitely talk to me ASAP so I can take care of it. Also, make sure you RSVP by the end of tomorrow if you want to attend, because they want to get an accurate head count of how much people are going to be there, because they're going to have name tags and they're going to have food. So they want to get a really good gauge of like who's actually going to come. You can also invite your family. So along with you going, you'll have 2 extra slots for people to come. People bring their families or they bring their significant others or friends. You just have 2 extra people to bring. So when you RSVP, if you want to bring 2 people, make sure you ask them and just fill that out as well. The event will take place from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Also, I had a really cool opportunity to talk to Dean Moore from the College of Arts and Humanities, and we discussed Resolution 5411. So I'll be able to answer questions tonight about it. And I would love to give a really warm Senate shout out and welcome to College of Arts and Humanities leadership in the back. And then finally, kind of like, Speaker Hall said, I kind of stole his meeting form and, perfected it. So I have a link to request a meeting with the Office of the Senate President Pro Tempore, everybody in it. So myself, D. McClellan, and Deeser Patel.
Alrighty. Are there any questions for Pro Tempore Foster? Chair Uriah.
For the dinner thing, the reception that you're talking about, if you're like, are a lot of people going alone? Because I don't think my parents can come. So like, if I go, will it be weird if I go alone, or I'm just curious?
No, we actually had a conversation about this on Tuesday in a PLC meeting, and like a lot of people go along. So like, it's not anything weird. Like, you could come, kind of mingle, get some food. Also, when you fill out your form, there's going to be an option to send 2 pictures of like yourself and your family, or it could be yourself or your family, because it's going to get like played in like president's house. So people like to take pictures of a picture next to themselves. That makes sense. So it's not really weird to go alone. My mom unfortunately can't come, so I'm super sad about that, but I'm still going. So
Alrighty. Are there? Oh, Chair Salcedo.
Can you send the link to the form for the pictures? Because I emailed them and they haven't gotten back to me.
I can definitely try to find it. Just text me.
Are there any other questions for Pro Tem Foster? Seeing none, Deputy Pro Tempore of Legislative Affairs report, D. Like McClellan.
Good evening, everybody. This week, I wrote 3 fiscal bills and approved 1 resolution. Tomorrow, I'll be holding a fiscal leadership meeting over Zoom. And as always, please make sure that you submit all legislation to Pro Tem Foster and myself by 5 p.m. on Wednesdays for it to be considered for approval that week. I'm very open to helping anyone with any legislation ideas or anything that you have or anything else that you want another set of eyes on, more input on. I apologize for the lack of pledge and national anthem these past few weeks. I have been forgetful in bringing my trumpet recently. And then lastly, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything else that you need from me, please do not hesitate to contact me. And you can also, in addition to just emailing and messaging me, you can also do it through that link above in Pro Tem Foster's report. Thank you very much.
All right. Are there any questions for D. Like McClellan? Vice Chair Becerra.
President voting.
So noted at 7:32 p.m. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, Deputy Pro Tempore of Senate Relations report, D. Sir Patel.
Good evening, everyone. This week, I sat down and met with Director Froelich and Director Lum of Nighthon. They basically informed me about their first family party they had over the weekend, where they brought in the families from Arnold Palmer Hospital and other patients. Additionally, they let me in on all the events they have planned throughout April 1st, which is their main events, and what initiatives they're pushing to gain fundraising till their main event. Additionally, I have received half the responses for the RSO list from OSI, from you all senators, and I would like all the responses to possibly be filled in next week so I can get you guys an official roster by our next Senate meeting next Thursday. So if you could just fill that out. I sent you all an email with all the appropriate documentation you need to fill it out accurately and swiftly.
Alrighty. Are there any questions for D. Sir Patel? Seeing none, caucus reports, APIA caucus, Chair Patel.
Hi guys, again. API did not meet this week because we did not have quorum. So if you all would love to meet with us, I encourage you to join, because the week before we had a lot of people join us and we love the involvement, but this week we had no involvement, so it's kind of sad. I love to see more faces because it gets fun when we meet. Additionally, if you all are free on Sunday, APAC is throwing a big event in the Texas Ballroom at 5 p.m. So if you're interested in going, I suggest you instead.
Are there any questions for Chair Patel? Seeing none, Black Caucus Chair report, Chair Holmes.
Hi, everyone. So yesterday at Black Caucus, we hosted about 15 Black RSOs yesterday, and they learned so much about our fiscal policies. And I just want to shout out Chair Wanjan, Chair Millington, and Chair Borges for coming and dropping your fiscal knowledge on us. It was just so helpful for our Black organizations, and they were just so appreciative of it. I was very appreciative of it as well. You just really helped them a lot, especially with, knowing if they're sanctioned or not, and what an allocation is and the difference between a bill. And I just really appreciated it so much. And we peeped you for coming, Chair Temple. We appreciated your presence. And future of our faculty event date has been moved to November 16th. So we're having a graphic made for that, and that will be released soon. That's all from me.
Are there any questions for Chair Holmes? Seeing none, Disability Caucus report. Is there none? Hispanic Latinx Caucus report, Chair Salcedo.
Hi, everyone. So today we did host our Afro-Latin Unity Day. I want to give a big shout out to all the SG agents that helped out with making this event happen, especially our wonderful Vice Chair Gabriel for stepping in for that. And lastly, Fiesta del Barrio is going to be on Tuesday, September 27th from 7 to 10 at the Academic Village Center.
Are there any questions for Chair Salcedo? Seeing none, LGBTQ plus caucus report, Chair Yalamanchili.
So hi, everyone. We did not have quorum last week. We have been having issues with quorum for the past 2 meetings. And so the caucus is unable to meaningfully operate without it. And so to those members, please try to come. And I also encourage senators who are passionate in LGBTQ plus rights and issues to join the caucus. We meet on Fridays at 1, and our next meeting is tomorrow. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Chair Yalamanchelli? Chair Go.
Hi, do you have Zoom option or is it only in person?
It is a Zoom entirely, actually.
Chair Go.
I direct a question to you.
Sure.
Can caucuses still meet if they don't have quorum? They just can't vote on like any legislation, or is it that they just cannot meet at all if they don't have quorum?
Yeah, if anything, Brody, is there a motion for non-committee members to speak, that being Brody?
So moved.
You want to hit us with that?
Hello. Yes, they can meet, but really only for basically announcements. Yeah, they can't do anything. They can just kind of, if the chair wants to have the meeting, give the announcements, but then kind of no business can be seen, if that makes sense.
Chair Yalamanchelli.
I just want to clarify, because we did not have quorum, there was nothing voted upon, and to those who were there, was only like 2 people, me and Senator Domino. We just had an informal discussion about what the caucus would like to do. That was it, and there was no business seen or voted upon because of those quorum issues.
Senator Teche.
Present and voting.
So noted at 7:37 p.m. Are there any other questions for Chair Yalamanchelli? Seeing none. Women's caucus report. None. Is there a motion? Pro Tem Foster.
Move to notice the legislation on third reading, Resolution 5411, resolution urging the University of Central Florida to begin phase 2 of the Center for Innovation, Entertainment, and Arts, introduced by Senator Moll.
There's been a motion to go to that piece of legislation. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. Is there a motion for speech, questioning, and debate? Chair Temple.
Move for 3-minute speeches, unlimited questioning, unlimited debate.
There's been a motion for 3-minute speeches, unlimited questioning, unlimited debate. Do you object? Do you withdraw?
Yes, sir.
Do you like McClellan?
Motion for 7-minute speeches, unlimited questioning, unlimited debate.
So a motion for 7-minute speeches, unlimited questioning, unlimited debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. So if the sponsors.
I would like to yield my time to Dean Jeff Moore of the College of Arts and Humanities.
Testing. Yeah, that's good.
All righty. Thank you, Dean Moore. You'll have
Thank you.
7 minutes when you're ready.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to this august body. Tell you a little bit about the large project, the passion project that I've had. I've been at the University of Central Florida since the fall of 1994, probably many, many years before you were born. When I was interviewed here, I was told that the building for the performing arts spaces was on a 5-year plan. That was 28 years ago. So as I've worked through the ranks of faculty into full professor and then became chair of the music department, director of the School of Performing Arts, which is theater and music and dance, and then eventually to my current position, the last 7 years, Dean of the College of Arts and Humanities, my passion project has been to see this phase 2 built, because we have a campus. Right now, it's about 68,000 students, but it fluctuates up to 70,000 students, and trying to find a space to be able to allow all of those students to experience the arts is problematic. Great news is that technology can help solve that, where you can experience a lot of the arts programs on your devices, provided we have space that will allow us to capture the arts in such a way that it's meaningful experiences that you can have on your devices. And this is obviously the way of the future. We owe our performing arts students the opportunity to learn how to create digital content, because that is what people are doing in our performances, our professional art form. And dare I say that people who are not in the performing arts are creating digital content, and they need a space. So one of my big pet peeves of performing arts spaces on other campuses is that it's static. It sits when the performing arts are not in it, and it's static in its shape. It's only one thing: a concert hall, a proscenium theater, etc. So our idea is to create a space that is extremely flexible and modular. So using the latest technology with furniture and the latest technology in terms of motion capture and video and digital scenery, all things that can be utilized by people outside of the performing arts. Virtual reality, augmented reality, all of these technologies. We need a space on campus for our students to be able to access this, not just our performing arts students. So we've created this building. We are working with architects now, thanks to this body that approved and helped us get approved the CITF funds necessary for the planning, the $2 million. We're well into the planning stage. Once we have the plans, we take it to our donors. We raise $25 million, and then the state comes up with $75 million. That's actually the formula that they use. And if we can do that, then we can get this building built, and we can have a space finally for the campus to gather in a digital space, a digital hub, so that those folks who are at the Rosen College across on their campus over by the Orange County Convention Center, Lake Nona for our College of Medicine, and eventually our College of Nursing and our health science folks, and our downtown campus. They can all have a common UCF experience. If it's happening on this campus and it's happening in that space, it can be captured and meaningfully transferred in a way that is high quality and not simply lecture capture looking cameras in one static spot, but actually a meaningful experience. Vice versa. If they're able to do something on the Lake Nona campus and the downtown campus, we'll then have an LED screen space for people to gather on this campus to see what's going on over there. What speakers did they have? This is long overdue for a campus that is as technologically advanced as this one and is at the cutting edge of innovation. So I thank you all for considering this second read of this resolution. Believe it or not, there's lots of things in the formulas of how buildings get prioritized at the university. There's cost, there's strategic value, there's all of these things. But one thing that overrides a lot of that is students, student passion. If the students are passionate about this and they believe that this is important to them so that our fellow students don't have to go to churches and high schools because they have better facilities than we do at the largest campus in the state of Florida in terms of university, I think that would go a long way. And so we keep that message going. Our president hears that message. Our provost hears that message, but only if it's sincere. If you have any doubts about this and you don't believe it, I totally respect that and understand that. But if this sounds like something that is ringing with you and resonating with you, I thank you for your support, for our ability to be able to keep this at the top of the list of our administrators, and hopefully to see this get funded. Thank you.
All righty, we are now in line for questioning. Are there any questions for the sponsors or Dean Moore? Dean McCullough.
Hello, thank you for having the time to come out and speak to us about this. I would like to ask, how do you think us passing this resolution and having it sent out to the people that mentions will impact how soon this will actually be built? Is there any possibility that this will start getting the process done and going in the next few years even?
Yes, getting this passed, the pressure is on me to raise the funds. I have to there's one way to get to the top of a priority list at a university. Show up with $25 million and you will be number one in the list. College of Nursing had the great fortune of the state legislature finally recognizing our nursing shortage and putting their money where their mouth is and giving the College of Nursing $60 million for their programs and their new building. That put them right up to the front. And I couldn't be happier. I'm very supportive of the fact that we can now educate nurses at a higher level. That wasn't even on the PICO list last year, and it went right to number one. So a resolution like this lets everyone know that this is still a priority for our students at the campus. This would be the 5th year or 6th year of resolutions from student government. So you might say, well, then what good is it doing? What good is it doing? We have $2 million in planning, and I'm at the point of getting schematics so I can go out and fundraise, which I couldn't have done 6 years ago because I was not in the same position now. And it's in part because of the support that the students gave. So we are on a 3-year plan where if everything goes well and I raise that money, we can get the project started and we can get it built in 3 years. But everything all the dominoes have to fall in one place. And what's sad about stuff like this is when one domino doesn't fall, it doesn't set you back for a month, it sets you back for a sequence, a year. So that's why we're so passionate about trying to keep this momentum going and to make sure that we don't leave a stone unturned, because we can't afford to drop back because it drops back a year and not simply a day or a week or months. Thank you for the question.
Alrighty, I'm going to go Chair Teche next.
Loki, has anything changed since we last passed this almost unanimously?
Nope.
Alrighty, Chair Temple.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I applaud that you're out here tonight. I love to see like us working with the college administrators. My question would be like, how do you suppose student government could do more to support this initiative?
A student government about 3 years ago sent out a survey to our student body and to get the climate of the students. And it was overwhelmingly positive in support of having a facility like this. And so student government, because they can initiate and you have the contact with the students and you all have that. If I send out a survey, there's very little participation. When the student government sends out a survey, you get more participation. Probably not as much as you all would like, but you get more than when we do it. And so student government advocating for this, getting the evidence that we need to show student support, that helps me when I'm out with $1 million donor saying, why would I invest in this? I said, because the students are so passionate about it. They're taking their CITF money, their fee money, and they're putting it towards this project. And trust me, if they had the money, they'd do it. But that's why we need you. You have the money. So this is sort of like when you're out fundraising for anything, your donors always say, are you investing in this? And when you can say all of your board and all of your people are investing in it, I personally have given tens of thousands of dollars to this project of my own money in support of this. I definitely put my money where my mouth is on this. And that makes a big deal when you're talking to donors. And I can't tell you the applause I get when I say 5 years of student government resolutions, the CITF funding, and they're just good for you, students. You're very serious about this. We want to get behind something like that. So that's what you can do.
Pro Tem Foster.
Yeah, we had a conversation about this on Tuesday, but I guess, just so everybody in the Senate can hear it, last meeting, some people were concerned about their tuition going up due to how much this would cost. So I guess if you can elaborate more on how it's going to be funding to kind of ease everybody's mind, that would be great.
Yes, the Florida legislature has been very good about holding tuition costs flat for many, many years. And it's not set up as a trade-off. It's not that the state university system generates a certain amount of revenue and then the state puts that revenue back in. It's usually that the revenue generated is not as much as it costs to actually run these places, and then other taxes from the state go in to support it. So other universities have building projects and their tuition doesn't go up. There's not a model where it's connected. It would be a state university decision. The state of Florida would have to look and say, we're going to raise tuition at every campus. So they wouldn't say, well, UCF got that performing arts center, so let's raise the UCF tuition a little bit, but keep FAMU down. Everybody is getting governed the same way and looked at the same way, and it's in the aggregate, not in the individual. So whereas I can't predict with any confidence what a politician will do, I can say that if you look at the past, all of the building projects that we've built on here, and we haven't raised tuition because they'd have to raise tuition on all of the institutions, I don't see a building project changing that going forward. I haven't seen it yet. I've been here a few years.
I'm going to go Deeser Patel, then Costas, then Barrickman.
Well, thanks again for being here. I know in your speech you mentioned something was required for the state of Florida to supply $75 million for this project. Could you just elaborate what UCF has to do on their part to gain that support?
$25 million in philanthropy. We have to raise about a quarter of the money, and that's the formula that they use. There's lots of other things in the formula for the PICO list. One of the other things about this project is it is a large, almost if you picture a football field length building with a tall roof. We're going to harden those walls and make it a Category 5 hurricane shelter for those folks who are on campus and can't get out. We can't necessarily open it as an Orange County shelter, but for the UCF students and faculty, the essential staff that has to be here, we need a space. We do not have a Category 5 hurricane shelter. But the only projects that make sense to do a Category 5 hurricane shelter are athletics and performing arts, because they have the showers and other things built into their projects. So this is something that we're looking at. So there's funding in the state to say, okay, if you're going to build a shelter, you get money from this bucket, and you have 25 with philanthropy, you can get money from this bucket. And so then we can put together, that's how the state of Florida will cobble together the support it takes to really put this together. But as I said, you know, when there's passion in the room and there's benefits, because I'm talking about a technology building. I'm not talking about a static performing arts space that's a Taj Mahal to dance or to theater or to music, as passionate as I am about those products. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a place where digital content is created, and the future of digital content with immersive reality is created. So when you start to talk to the state of Florida about having technology enhanced spaces for the largest industry in Central Florida, themed experience, the theme parks, all of the other themed experience things, and our great video game and simulation industry, they start to look at this and go, this building makes a lot of sense, because it's not just static application for those performing arts units. It's about all of those disciplines coming together in a space and making UCF the center of it. UF they have a performing arts center. They don't have one that does what I'm talking about. Florida State doesn't have this. Miami doesn't. They'd have to tear down what they have and rebuild or build something brand new. So we're sort of in the catbird seat, not having something. We can build it that it's future proof. So that's how we're going to get that 75 million. You start to talk about tech terms, that's another bucket. You start talking about hurricane, that's another bucket. You bring 25 in philanthropy and they go, we have the funding for this.
Senator Caucus.
Present and voting.
So noted at 7:53 p.m. Tash, do you have a question, or is it? Oh, no, first, Senator Berkman.
So last week I was noting how expensive all of this seems to be, $120 million. But taking a look at how the funding is allocated from different sources and having no real association with tuition costs, and also having an experience with the FAO committee just 2 days ago, in which we approved 1,000.
Senator Berkman, just get to the question. Yeah, if you can.
Yes, sir. In which we approved $1,228 in a single instance of an RSO traveling to an offsite location. Are there a significant number of other instances like this, sir?
Yes, right now, a great deal of our budget that is allocated towards performing arts and visual arts is taken up with bus rental and hotel, because we have to transport people to facilities that are appropriate for what they're about to do. So we end up spending a great deal of money that's already earmarked and budgeted towards these disciplines on things that are sort of non-discipline specific, because we have to get them to spaces. I'm not sure if that was your question, but that was what I was hearing. Do you have a follow-up? If I didn't understand that?
Yes. Sir, do you have an approximation of how much that is annually?
It varies by ensemble. So the wind ensemble is probably spending about $50,000 to $60,000 a year in travel. The orchestra is spending about $40,000 a year in travel. Our theater happens here, but our dance has to happen in other places. So they're probably spending $10,000 to $15,000 in travel. And that doesn't include all the additional gas money and other things that students have to do in order to go to these places. You know, we provide buses, but sometimes students are coming from a different class and a different campus, and they have to drive to match it. So, yeah.
So there are accounting costs, economic costs, and opportunity costs.
Correct.
Yeah. Just for future reference, I got to call on you again to ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Is there any other senators wishing to ask a question? Pro Tem Foster.
Move to debate.
There's an motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now in debate. Chair Temple.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I had voted for this resolution again once, and I will vote for it again, especially after the dean's clarification on several pieces of information. Not that it had really changed my mind. I love the fact that Senator Moll had brought the dean out and the provost out as well. And then thank you so much for being out here. You guys had done such a terrific job in clarifying so much information and really actually enlightening me as well, because I didn't know so much went into all of this. So, but to make a debate rather short, I will be voting in favor of this bill again. I would highly encourage all of you to do the same as well.
All righty. Chair Millington.
Yeah, I'll keep this short. I think that this center is very long overdue, so I'm going to be speaking highly in favor. And as mentioned in questioning, FAO just saw an allocation request from an RSO requesting money to perform at a high school. So I think that that's a great application of something that this center could fix. So I will be voting highly in favor, and I urge everybody else to do the same.
Senator Moll.
Move to vote.
There's been a motion to vote on Resolution 5411. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. Allo.
Sorry, I don't remember how to display the vote count. So can I just say it?
Sure. Go
Okay.
for it.
Passed unanimously 32 to 0.
Senator Moore.
I'd like to make a motion to thank Dean Jeff Moore and Assistant to the Dean Paul Artenois for their time tonight.
Alrighty, Chair Temple.
Move to return to fiscal committee caucus time, CRT.
There's a motion to return to fiscal committee caucus time. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. CRT is caucusing for 30 minutes. They'll be in the chamber. Everyone else, adios until then. I adjourn at 7:58 p.m.
Hey guys, we got to start soon. Please exit the chambers. Yeah, doesn't matter.
All right, y'all. CRT's trying to start. Please leave respectfully.
Who is my pro temp rep? Who is my pro temp rep? Somebody. AJ? Awesome. Are you the ORS rep? Thank you. Okay. Okay, I'm calling it to order, guys. I hereby call this meeting to order at 8 p.m. Roll call and verification of quorum. Deeser Patel here. You're doing, yeah.
Chair Morris.
Here.
Senator Harrell. Present. Senator Shalal. Absent. Senator Wanjin. ORS rep. Here. Pro temp rep here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 to 5. Quorum is verified.
Thank you, Deeser Patel. Please look over last meeting's minutes. I'll take a motion when you guys are ready. Harrell.
Move to approve last meeting's minutes.
Put a motion to approve last meeting's minutes. Any objections? Seeing none, they stand to approve with general consent. Look over today's agenda. I'll take a motion when you guys are ready. Harrell.
Move to approve this meeting's agenda.
Put a motion to approve today's agenda. Any objections? Seeing none, stands approved. Announcements from me. So, hey guys, we have 8 allocations that were not approved on Monday, and then one that was a really tight timeline. So I took them even though they submitted it a little bit late. That's all for me. Any questions for me? Seeing none, the vice chair is not here, so she has no announcements. Any announcements from committee members? Okay, none. Awesome. Any announcements from non-committee members? Any? No. Okay, cool. None. Old business. Actually, is there a motion to move to? Give me a second. Old business allocation 54-122.
So moved.
Any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. I'll take a motion for speeches, questioning, debate. Harrell.
Move for 3-minute speeches, unlimited questioning, unlimited debate.
So the motion for 3-minute speeches, unlimited questioning, and unlimited debate. Any objections? Okay, seeing none. Allocation 54-122. Daisy, you have 3 minutes whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Hi. So I am going to AMWA conference, the American Medical Women's Association. I've submitted to presenting research at this conference. I'm not a member, but I got invited from another member. You don't need to be a member. This is a time for me to display my research, and this is kind of like a low stakes conference, so it'll be an awesome time for me to really acquire skills of how to present researchers, how to talk to professionals, how to talk to different surgeons, doctors, and it'll be a time and place for me to grow. And I'm really passionate about this research in the hemifacial microsomia, which is a congenital syndrome that is affected mainly Hispanic and Native American males, every 1 in 3,000 to 4,000 children. And this research is advantageous, as this will help us understand more speech and swallowing implications in this specific population. And so, yeah, I'll give my time to questions.
We are now on for questioning. Any questions, Harrell?
Are you fiscally trained?
I am.
You can.
Did you send proof to Chair Borges?
Oh,
I can. Usually I require proof because a lot of the students don't understand that we have a new one. But because you're a senator, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I will email that to you though.
You're good. You don't have to. It's just a lot of students are unaware and you are aware, so I don't mind just.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Harrell?
I think this just might be a shift in the tracker, but what are you requesting?
Okay, yeah, I was a little confused on the thing, and that's why I submitted I'm only requesting for lodging. I'm only requesting for the hotel stay. Another girl from my lab, Caroline, came through and said that we can't fund the parking, so I'm not requesting that. I'm just requesting the 350 or maybe 370 for lodging, whatever the committee thinks is appropriate.
No. Okay, cool. What I got from the request was a request for registration. Was that just like an accident?
Yeah, I was going to, but I think it might be out of timeline because registration's due the 30th, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to rush this, so I was just going to cover registration and just ask for lodging.
Okay, makes sense. Harrell?
Kind of. I think the 308 that's in registration was meant for lodging. Because the registration is only 30, I believe, from the previous. But yeah.
That makes sense. I can change that because that just looks like a technical. Okay, we're still in line for questioning. Any other questions? There are still questions to be asked. Harrell?
Are you aware of the post-funding process?
I am aware. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. Any other questions? Harrell?
Can you verify the dates you are going?
Yes, so I will be leaving October 21st and we'll be returning back the 23rd. Also, I know typically like COVID's a thing, but I have not heard any COVID guidelines. However, I am vaccinated, so I do not see that being like an issue for me to revert any money.
Robbins?
Can you confirm the amount that you're asking for?
Yeah, so if I'm correct, we cannot cover in-state taxes, correct? Yeah, so I will just then be requesting. Can I look at the hotel for an updated rate on what it would be?
You can. And as long as it's not too far away from what you originally submitted, we'll just take that.
Okay, yeah, let me just look for that right now and get.
Do you want us to come back to you?
Yeah, you can come back to me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So this agenda has more than I would have liked to on it. Is there a motion to move to old business allocations 54-110? Any objections? Actually, is there a motion? I'm gonna stop myself. Is there a motion to table allocation 54-122? Any objections? Seeing none, it's been tabled. Is there a motion to move to old business allocation 54-110? Any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. So I'm representing Rebecca. Rebecca's going to the Association for Public Policy Analysis and Management Fall Conference in Washington, D.C. from November 16, 2022 to November 19, 2022. As a PhD candidate looking to the job market, she's going to this conference to present research and also network. Her research is on her dissertation on social equity and vaccine uptake all across the United States, and the networking will consist of professionals in her field and companies looking for prospective employees. For Rebecca's program, presenting research at a conference is required, and she's explained that this conference is a competitive conference that not a lot of students are accepted to. She has applied 3 times with 3 different pieces of research and just finally got accepted. When it comes to the benefit for the UCF community, she'll be able to represent UCF at the conference and bring her new connections back to students in her program. Rebecca has done financial training and has sent me the confirmation and also understands the post-funding process. When it comes to what we cannot cover, she will pay out of pocket. She's not requesting airfare because it should be paid for by the graduate presentation fellowship, and the hotel is expensive because it's the conference's hotel. She has received funding from us this session. However, it was last fiscal year, so her cap is still $1,000. And then, of course, the certain individual cap. She is also not an international student. I yield the questioning. Any questions? Harrell.
Never mind. I'm sorry. I'm looking in the tracker and I can't find the amounts on this stuff. Where should I be looking? I don't remember.
So
This is relevant.
that's the ORS one. So yeah, do you need time to go to the CRT one?
Is it in
It's in the CRT drive, and then it's under trackers, and then yeah, I can give you time if you'd like. If not, we can keep going. Okay. Any questions or motion? Harrell?
You pretty much covered everything. Move to debate.
The motion move to debate. Any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. Any debate? Harrell?
Mayor Dane?
You may.
I don't see any reason not to fund this. It seems pretty cool. Move to vote.
The motion to vote. Any objections? Seeing none, all is in favor. All is against. All is abstaining. Vote count of 4 to 0 to 0. This passes. Okay. Next one. Allocation 54-111. Unless, are you ready, Daisy? Okay. Is there a motion to pick up from the table allocation 54-122?
So moved.
Any objections? Seeing none, we are back there, and we were still in questioning. Any other questions? Okay, cool. If you'd like to re-explain that quote now, you can.
Sorry, I thought it was on. The total has now gone up to 402, but taxes were 44 in it. So I will request 360, if that's okay. Do you want proof of this? I can email it to you right now.
It's close enough to what you originally submitted that it's not that much of an issue. Harrell? You still have something? No, okay. Yeah, you may.
So you're asking us to change the lodging cost to 360?
Yes, please.
Any other questions? Or motion? Harrell?
Move to debate.
The motion to move to debate. Any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. Any debate? Robbins, and then Harrell.
She's financially trained. She knows what she's doing and seems to know the post-funding process well as well. Let's approve.
Harrell.
Move to amend lodging cost to 360.
The motion to amend the lodging cost to 360. Are there any objections? Seeing none, let's take that as strong consent. It's been changed. The total request now is $360. You can get a max of $500. Harrell.
I forgot to ask if you wanted to include some type of inflation like we did with the most previous individual.
Mm-hmm.
How would you feel about that?
You can, if you want to direct it to the individual, you can, yeah.
Daisy, would you prefer us increasing the amount just for fluctuation purposes? Or would you like us to stick at the 360? How would you like to go about it?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I'm aware of the process. I am aware of reversions and having to do that, as well as the price has already fluctuated up already. So I could see it increasing in the next, maybe 2 weeks when I can get the funding. So I'd be comfortable with that. Thank you for asking.
And just so the committee is aware, to prevent the more than 20% reversion. If we went with $450 and she only used the 360, she'd still be fine. Not sure if we want to go that high though, but around.
Move to amend the lodging cost to 420.
There's a motion to amend the lodging cost to 420. Are there any objections? Are you retracting your motion?
Yeah.
You may. Yeah, you may debate.
Yeah, I just was gonna amend that to 430 or yeah, 425.
Okay, there's a motion to amend the lodging cost from 360 to 425. Are there any objections? Seeing none, I'll take it as general consent. It has been changed to 425. Awesome. Any other debate or motion? Hurrah.
Move to vote.
There's a motion to vote on allocation 54-122. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now voting procedures. All those in favor, all those against, all those abstaining, the vote count of 4-0-0. This has been approved. I'm sure you're pretty familiar, but if you don't get reached out to by an accountant within the next week and a half, let me know and I can reach out for you. Other than that, have a great Senate.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Is there a motion to move back to old business, allocation 5411? Any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. So Renee is currently under fiscal probation, so we cannot fund her. Is there a motion to postpone allocation 5411? To postpone.
Oh.
I'll explain. So when someone is under fiscal probation, that means that they're still waiting to be seen by ORS. They had either a reversion or some type of other thing that caused them to be on the probation, and we can't fund them until they're off of it. So once ORS is done with whatever they have to do, if that's still within timeline, we can still see it. So just postponing it because she could go next week to ORS and then be eligible for CRD funding. That would be the best. If you guys disagree, we can totally talk about that. But if not, is there a motion to postpone allocation 54-111? Any objections? Seeing none, it's been postponed. Allocation 54-112, Brooke, I'm also representing her. Brooke is going to the 2022 American Speech Language Hearing Association Convention in New Orleans, Louisiana, from November 17, 2022 to November 19, 2022. Brooke will be doing a poster presentation with 2 other students, including another we are funding today. Her research is on adults with developmental disabilities and how there is a lack of research and support groups out there for them to participate fully in the community, in working at doctor's appointments, etc. Her research will show the pros and cons of individual versus group therapy sessions. Brooke is financially trained and has sent me proof she understands the post-funding process and is not an international student. Anything we can cover will be covered out of pocket. I yield to questioning. Any questions? Pharrell?
You pretty much covered everything. Move to vote. Move to debate.
Is there a motion to go to debate? Any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. Any debate? Robbins?
I like how she added that she would be willing to pay out of pocket anything else because a lot of people forget about that possible thing. Anyway, yeah.
Awesome. Any other debate? Harrell?
Mayor Ting?
You may.
I agree with Vice Chair Robbins. With that, move to vote.
To the motion to vote on allocation 54-112. Any objections? Seeing none, we're now voting procedures. All those in favor, all those against, all those abstaining, the vote count of 4-0-0. This passes. Allocation 54-113. Olivia, I'm also representing her. Olivia is going to the 2022 American Speech Language Hearing Association Convention in New Orleans, Louisiana, from November 17, 2022 to November 19, 2022. Olivia explained that when she graduates, she'll be working for this organization. So it is an honor to be accepted to represent UCF. At this conference, she'll be representing the Communication Sciences and Disorders Master's Program, as well as the clinic they practice at within their program. Her research revolves around a group she created within her master's program to help adults with intellectual disabilities build foundational skills like self-advocacy related to getting their wants and needs satisfied and even getting and keeping jobs. For the result of this research group, they found that teaching these aspects within group therapy settings is more beneficial for individual sessions. Olivia hopes to spread this word of group versus individual therapy in her poster presentation. In addition to the research, she will have a chance to network and connect to other professionals in her field and clinics, as well as other universities. Olivia is financially trained and has sent me confirmation. I explained to her that post-funding process as she will be paying the remaining amount out of pocket. She's not an international student. Sorry, it's really hard to speak. I'm so tired. I yield to question. Any questions? Harrell.
You covered everything again. Move to debate.
So there's been a motion to move to debate. Any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. Any debate? Harrell.
Yeah, I think you seem to cover everything with her with the post-funding process. This seems like a really good opportunity, and I will be voting in favor.
Awesome. Any other debate or motion? Harrell?
Move to vote.
So motion to vote on allocation 54-113. Any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. All those in favor, All those against? All those abstaining? The vote kind of 40-0. This passes. Allocation 54-114. They want us to postpone as they will be there on Monday. They do have time, so it's not a big deal if we don't see them today. Is there a motion to postpone allocation 54-114? Any objections? Seeing none, it stands postponed. Allocation 54-117. I'm also representing David. David is going to the 2022 National American Nanohertz Observatory for Gravitational Waves fall meeting in Milwaukee, Wisconsin from October 16, 2022 to October 22nd, 2022. Dave's going to be doing talks regarding his research in which he has been working on for over a year. It is the only student at UCF that does this kind of research, which shows UCF is making progress in this specific field and is innovative. His research, in a nutshell, because it's extremely complex, he talked about it for at least 20 minutes, deals with a new kind of assessment within astronomy, essentially the way they look at ripples in space caused by black holes and other big events. They also can use lasers bouncing back and forth to analyze those ripples to figure out what event took place and why. This is a new type of method that just started in 2015, in which he is working with Creel on some of this research. David has completed financial training and has sent me confirmation, understands the post-funding process, and is not an international student. Sadly, due to his research being pretty new and classified, he's unable to send in an abstract due to an embargo. We talked about sending me something that could be an equivalent, but he has not. So we really can't change his funding type from several networking to research presentation as of now. It has to be approved. He does not have to pay registration because it is free for those presenting. It doesn't want us to pay for the flights as he'll be visiting friends after the conference and wants freedom with his flights. Anything we cannot cover, we paid for by him out of pocket. I yield the questioning. Any questions? Hurrah. You're good. Anyone else besides Hurrah?
So he's only requesting lodging for him being at the conference, correct?
That's correct. His friends are in a different state, so we're just funding it for the conference lodging, and that's it. Any other questions or motion? Hurrah.
Move to debate.
There's no motion to go to debate. Any objections? You object? No. Do you? Okay. See that general consent. We're in debate. There any debate? Robbins.
Yeah, sorry. I think this is great that he does this kind of research. Sounds like he elaborated on it a lot, which is cool. So that's it.
Hurrah.
Like I said with the last person that dropped the Creole name, I have a soft spot for people who do research with Creole. We're pretty freaking awesome. So yeah, I will be voting in favor of this.
Any other debate or motion? Hurrah.
Move to vote.
It's a motion to vote on allocation 54-117. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. All those in favor, all those against, all those abstaining. The vote count of 40-0. This passes. 54-120. So they actually requested so much that I talked to them about getting a fiscal vote because they're well within timeline, and they're requesting $24,000. We can only give them $2,000. So I met with the member today, and she's going to relay all the information back to her RSO's leadership to decide whether they want a fiscal bill or an allocation. For now, she wants us to postpone it until they decide. Is there a motion to postpone allocation 54-120? Any objections?
Alrighty, I reconvene this meeting at 8:30 p.m. Fiscal Committee reports, CRT Committee Chair Borges.
So in committee, new business allocations approved 54-115, 15 by 4 to 0 to 0, 54-116, 5 to 0 to 0, 54-118, 5 to 0 to 0, 54-119, 3 to 0 to 2, 54-121, 4 to 0 to 0. We postpone allocation 54-110, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 20, and 22 by general consent. In caucus, old business allocations, we approved 54-110, 12, 13, 17, 22 with a vote count of 4 to 0 to 0 for all of them. Postpones allocations 54-111 and 114 by general consent. Oh, and 120 by general consent. Sorry, I don't know why they're separate. And then new business allocations approved 54-123 with a vote count of 4 to 0 to 0. So we approved 5, denied 0, and postponed 8 in committee. And then we approved 6, postponed 3, and denied 0 in caucus. We also reapproved our fiscal quarters. If you want to see them, they're in the CRT drive. Thank you to Chair Holmes for having us at Black Caucus this week. And then my vice chair is not here. Does anyone want to do her report? I yield to Chair Temple.
I didn't expect you to actually do that, but thank you, Chair Borges. So this past CRT meeting, we had the pleasure of trying Topo chocolate pretzels from Thailand. The reviews were mixed, but the general consensus was that the texture was a bit too dry. On the bright side, Chair Temple, myself, pointed out that they made you look like you're smoking a tiny cigar, and I still stand by that statement. I yield back to Chair Borges.
Are there any questions for Chair Borges? Seeing none, FAO Committee report, Chair Millington.
Hello, guys. Happy Thursday. So this week in committee, we approved allocation 5408, 7 to 0 to 0, and then approved allocations 5424, 700, 5425, 700, 5426, 600, 5427, 700, 5428, 700, 5429, 700, 5430, 700, and 5431, 700. A big thank you to Black Caucus and Chair Holmes for inviting fiscal leadership to their meeting this week. Thoroughly enjoyed that. And I also just wanted to throw in a little thing about speaker funding. So 2 topics. The first I wanted to touch on was something that was mentioned in open forum relating to allocation 5423. So in regards to that, that was voted on and approved 5 to 0 to 1 last week and read into last meeting's minutes and had already been sent to the accounts last Friday. So that is something that the committee cannot reconsider. So just a point of information for that. And then also just generalized for speaker funding. FAO as a committee has to approve allocations in terms of being content neutral. So at the beginning of the semester, FAO discussed on if we wanted to fund all speakers or fund no speakers. Speaking on legalities, we have to either do some or none because then it gets into the conversation of free speech and what we can and cannot fund. So we did decide at the start of the semester that we would choose to fund all speakers. So I just wanted to throw that out there as well, but that is it from me.
Are there any questions for Chair Millington? Senator Taché?
Is there any sort of vetting process for the speaker? Like, do they have to display academic value, or are we just approving anyone any RSO wants to bring in?
Is there a motion for a non-committee member to speak? Brody.
Leslie and I had talked about this a little bit earlier. The answer to your question is kind of no. If an RSO feels there's value to bringing them to campus, then that's up to them to some extent. And part of that is because, like, to draw a line of what has value and doesn't is very arbitrary. And like, I can see the value in drawing that arbitrary line, but who's drawing that line has a huge effect. And it would be very easy for outside groups to question who's drawing it and where they're drawing that line. So we kind of just don't, right? We've, as Leslie said, some of that conversation was around, like, should we choose to, like, not fund political speakers, right? Because that kind of solves some of that issue. But then you get into conversations about, well, what's political and who's choosing what's political and kind of all of those different, every arbitrary line has a bunch of other questions that get into it. And so, yeah, that was kind of the thought process.
ILA Yalamanchili.
Is there absolutely no way to change FAO policy on the speakers right now? Because it seems to me that based on current policy, any RSO can bring in some of the most unhinged people in society and get away with it. And is there any way to legally change that FAO policy without getting anyone in trouble?
Rudy.
No. Any kind of policy change that did consider content in that way would get the university sued very quickly. Because different than RSOs, we're not separate from the university, right? We are a part of the university. So that would be the equivalent of a state institution limiting the speech of some individuals, right? And so short of the things that are exempted from free speech laws, which is very, very small, like fire in the theater, those kinds of things, no, not really.
Senator Moll and then Senator Berkman.
Yeah, just sort of kind of in the lines of Senator Yellow and Chili's question, is there any sort of possibility of reconsidering the policy and changing it to no speakers whatsoever?
In theory, that is a discussion that can be had, but since we have now funded a speaker, it's kind of going to be hard to determine that, because I don't want to have set a precedent where we did fund a speaker and now we turn around and say that we're not going to fund any speakers. So in theory, like legality wise, that is something that we can discuss, like FAO bringing speakers or not bringing speakers. And we did have that conversation at the beginning of the year, and it was something that our committee decided we were going to do all speakers. So that is something that like we could discuss, but then it brings into the question of we've already funded a speaker. So then it's are we giving certain people special treatment? And it gets into that kind of, we don't want to fund, since we've already funded one, if we cut off funding now, how will that look on us?
Senator Berkman.
I have a question then about the FAO's purpose in this situation, whether we as student senators merely exist to rubber stamp RSO's requests for funding when they submit them, as long as they're organized and timely, or if there is another such purpose for whomever has an answer.
Yeah. So as far as the FAO committee, we, as I mentioned earlier, we approve things based on like content neutral policies. So as long as the request is following what's required in the spending policies and in Title 8, so as long as it fills those requirements, then that is something that we can approve, and we can't discriminate based off of the content. So in short answer, yes, I guess technically we are kind of like rubber stamps, like approving or not approving based on if it follows the guidelines, because we can't like discriminate against certain content.
Senator Capozzi.
If there was like an incident that occurred, so I remember the speaker, Caitlin Bennett, had come out at one point and she was basically chased into the Einsteins where her security was like trying to keep the, other students away from her. If there's another incident like this, say the speaker that they were talking about earlier comes out and something of this nature occurs, would that then be grounds for us to have a discussion about how to like maybe eliminate them? So it's not really just us saying, okay, hey, we funded one person and now we don't want to fund anybody else.
I'll just point of information that at least the specific speaker in question, that never went through student government. That person came on their own volition. But if you want to rephrase it or anything like that.
Yeah, so I know that we didn't fund that one, but if we were to be the ones who did, like, say we allowed an RSO to bring somebody on campus that created such a disruption and it was because we funded them, would that be grounds for having a conversation about it?
So as far as FAO deciding on if we want to not fund speakers anymore, since that would technically be in our jurisdiction, like all speakers or no speakers, if an event like that did happen, then that could be grounds to bringing up a conversation. Hopefully nothing like that does happen. but in theory it could be. But then again, I want the committee to I just want the committee not to get in trouble, like legality wise. So in theory it could, hopefully nothing happens, but.
I'm going to go Chair Gall, and then we're going to move on.
Okay. This is kind of a question directed to Leslie, but also Brody, if she can't answer, is that okay? Okay, awesome. So if like we fund a speaker who is proven to have like hate speech by definition, we still have to fund them even if that goes against the UCF creed, code of conduct. Can we use that as a way to be like, this does not stand with UCF policy, therefore we will not fund this person because this is hate speech? I don't know if that's already been asked before.
Basically, to get to the crux of the question, UCF policy does not disallow hate speech. If you go to the Office of Student Involvement's website, and it has a little section on there talking about hate speech, and it says hate speech, while abhorrent, is allowed on campus because we cannot prevent it. That's an unfortunate answer, I think many would say, but that is the answer. So yes, aside from the very narrow definition of hate speech, which is truly inciting violence, that kind of thing, then to some extent, yes. But unless they come in with the request and say like, we are going to incite a riot at this event, like you can't prevent them. You can't prevent somebody from coming to speak because they have done hate speech in the past, right? That even if it does fall within that narrow band, right? So yes.
In the interest of time, we're going to move along, but I would encourage, because we will more than likely not get out at midnight tonight, that if there is more discussion on this, we can enter Senate deliberation later to talk about this in depth. But in the meantime, ORS committee report, Chair Wanjan.
Hey guys, so this week we didn't have a caucus, so I only have to tell you guys what we did in committee. For post-funding reviews, we voted on CRT 5443, 0%, 9 to 0 to 0, CRT 53 236, 15%, 8 to 1 to 0, CRT 53 254, 0%, 7 to 0 to 0, FAO 53 244, 20%, 8 to 0 to 1, SB 5402, 0%, 9 to 0 to 0, and then all of the following we postponed by general consent: CRT 5322, 5330, 5337, 5346, 5362, 5363, 53140, 53148, 53222, 53244, 53250, 5404, 5417, 5430, FAO 53134, 53180, 53189, 53193, 53196, 53205, 53238, SB 5328, SB 5331, and SB 5334. As far as verification of purchases forms, we also approved the verification of purchases form for SB 5402, 8 to 0 to 1. This was a shorter meeting than our last couple of meetings have been, but it was still a lot of business. Only about an hour and a half rather than more than 2, which is an improvement. I'm currently trying to figure out the best way to get an RSO email that would still be able to reach out to the RSO after their leadership changes, since the email we currently request is the Knight's email, usually for the president or treasurer, which is what the business office needs in order to actually be able to work with them. The main issue is that adding this to the Knight Connect form could make us lose already submitted information, but hopefully a solution will be found. Also, thank you to Chair Holmes for having us at Block Caucus this week. It was great to be able to speak to so many RSOs, and I yield to Vice Chair Robbins for Scarlet Snapshots.
We got to do them in person this week, which was fun. There were some moo cows in our snapshots, which was cool. Thank you, Senator Uchoa. An old man's chess game. I will not name whose. A night out a little too late on the town, a hype up speech from a bestie, as well as a glorious selfie with myself and the current Spirit Splash coordinator as our lives were falling apart. And no roast for AJ this week.
Are there any questions for Chair Wanjan? Seeing none, fiscal legislation, notice legislation on first reading bills. Fiscal Bill 5414 is remanded to CRT. Fiscal Bill 5415 is remanded to CRT, and Fiscal Bill 5416 is remanded to FAO. Resolutions none, special acts none. Notice legislation on third reading bills. Is there a motion for speech, questioning, and debate? Senator Palmer.
Motion for 5-minute speeches, 10-minute questioning, 10-minute debate.
There's a motion for 5-minute speeches, 10-minute questioning, 10-minute debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. Bills, Fiscal Bill 5413, funding for 8 members of the United Nations Association to travel to the McGill Model United Nations Assembly 2023 in Montreal, Quebec, from January 26, 2023 to January 29th, 2023. ILA Chile, 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
So I'm not going to take up 5 minutes. The RSO is not here today, but I would generally like to say that this bill passed last week in second reading with a vote of 32 to 0 to 1 and was already approved. And this is an RSO that has not been sanctioned. The bill is written well, and I think the committee might as well just approve it again. Thank you.
Alrighty, we are now in line for questioning. Are there any questions? Seeing none, Senator Taché.
Move to debate.
There's a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now in debate. I'm going to go, I saw Parmar, then Costas, then Temple.
So yeah, I agree with Senator Vihan that we should approve this bill since it was already passed in the last legislative as well. So I'm highly in favor, and I would recommend my other senators to vote in favor as well. Thank you.
Senator Costas.
Just to echo the sentiments of Senator Chile and Parmar, and also to add Montreal is an amazing city. My mom grew up there, and I think we should all vote in favor of this.
May I retain, Mr. Speaker?
You may.
You all know how I feel about this. I love Model United Nations with all my heart. It's the reason why I'm here. So I would highly encourage you all to vote in favor of this bill and send them all to kick some Canadian. Let's move to vote on Fiscal Bill 5413.
All right, there's been a motion to vote on the fiscal bill. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. With a vote count of 32 to 0 to 1, Fiscal Bill 5413 passes favorably on third reading. Next legislation on third reading, resolutions none, special acts none, notice legislation on second reading none, internal committee caucus time none, internal committee reports, ENA committee report, Chair Gill.
Hi, everyone. I hope you've had a fabulous week so far. During ENA, we passed Internal Bill 5423 with a vote count of 5 to 0 to 1. During this time, we did have input from President Lopez, AG Moore, Supervisor McGregor. We postponed Internal Bill 5417. We're not planning on rushing any provisions for this. This year, the elections took a lot longer than expected. Our ENA calendar that was created had us on track to approving the supervisor and assistant supervisor in July. However, that was not the case. We approved them in fall. And so we're still not off track. I had a meeting with AG Moore, Brody, and Supervisor McGregor on Wednesday, which was super successful, talking about the statutes, which has been awesome. ENA will be tabling this Monday from 10:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Vice Chair Almanar is out of town right now, so it's just Pro Tem Foster and I tabling. I've already reached out to Chief of Staff Greenway and Chief Justice Care to invite their branches as well. And this is just a time to promote SG and to reach out to students. This was an initiative that I ran on and something that I wanted to do to just add more responsibility on ENA. So if you are interested, any of your committees, you have any events going on, please email me, let me know. I'd be more than happy to promote anything that any of our caucuses, committees, agencies are doing. And yeah, if you ever have any questions, comments, or concerns about what is going on, just communicate with me. If you have my phone number, text me, group me, email. I'm pretty open on communication. And then thank you for everyone who came to ENA. I know Chair Urea came, Pro Temp and Speaker. Everyone that came really appreciated it. Thank you for being there. I really appreciate all the input. And ENA is doing great. So yeah, thank you.
Alrighty, are there any questions for Chair Gill? Seeing none, GAP Committee Report, Chair Temple.
Hello there, Senate. Before I begin, quick shout out to GAC McLean for hosting the Ready Set Vote event on Monday. They did fantastic. So back to my actual report. As chair, I briefly met with the supervisor of elections yesterday and on Friday to discuss meeting times for those interested in the Ignite Your Vote campaign. Details are still to be determined, but hopefully by next week we can arrange a date and time. I also met with representatives from Our Climate who actually sat in on GAP yesterday, who I'm really happy about. And I'll be meeting with them in the immediate future to gain insight on environmental climate policy, which is actually one of our Day at the Capitol priorities. Moreover, I met with Shane from OSI to discuss matters of government affairs, including detailed voter statistics, which sent me over the moon, frankly, for the past 3 election cycles collected from the Office of Civic Engagement, as well as concerns regarding a private lobbying firm that the university has contracted. He'll get more information to me forthwith. In committee, the GAP subcommittees have continued researching their respective initiatives as outlined in the following reports. The priorities subcommittee began their research with objectively astounding progress thus far across the board, and the Voters Guide subcommittee has continued their research into state elections with focusing on endorsements and campaign finances. The report herein was affirmed by the GAP committee by a vote count of 10 to 0. If you or any RSO you represent would like to attend GAP and help subcommittees or just sit in, you or they are more than welcome to attend. Just be sure to give myself or Vice Chair Almanar a heads up so we can accommodate accordingly. As much as I love to see everybody, I still need to plan ahead. Speaking of whom, Vice Chair Almanar will be out of town for the rest of the week and will return Monday evening. So that's, yeah. And then finally, there are 46 days left before the midterm elections. I beg you all, please vote. But before you do that, register to vote. The deadline for the registration in Florida is the 11th of October. If you have not done so already, please register to vote. I yield back.
Are there any questions for Chair Temple? Seeing none, LGR Committee Report, Chair Urea.
Hey everyone, we finally got a vice chair. So excited to see Brianna Squared Team rock and Vice Chair Harrell grow in leadership. We postponed a bill we were working on about Title IX simply because me and Ryan just needed a little bit more time to straighten things out. And then we also approved 3 absence requests and denied 1. I put the voting records in the minutes. And then lastly, we went over Title 11 and talked about different aspects of ethics and the statute.
All right. Are there any questions for Chair Urea? Seeing none, SBA Committee Report, Vice Chair Trainer.
We don't have much to say for today. We had a great meeting at 2. All that we really worked on was our SBA contact form that we've been working with Thomas. We have a little pamphlet that we're working on for that, and we were just editing the SBA concerns, issues, and feedback Qualtrics form. So we're hoping to see that get finished maybe next week. Yeah, I yield my time back.
Alrighty. Are there any questions for Vice Chair Trainer? Seeing none, congrats on your first report. Confirmations, none. Internal legislation, notice legislation first reading, constitutional amendments, none. Bills, none. Resolutions, Resolution 5412, resolution in support of the Orange County Transportation Surtax by Senator Simcoe is remanded to GAP. Proclamations, none. Special acts, none. Notice legislation on third reading. Constitutional amendments, none. Bills, none. Resolutions. Is there a motion for speech, questioning, and debate? Chair Temple.
Move for 5-minute speeches, 15-minute questions, 15-minute debate.
There's a motion for 5-minute speeches, 15-minute questioning, 15-minute debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, resolutions. Resolution 5409, resolution advocating for more transparency in the expenditures of ANSF funds. Chair Wanjan and Chair Borges, whoever wants to go, 5 minutes when you're ready.
So I don't have any sort of speech written. It's the same resolution you guys saw last week. I don't really know I don't think there's anything else for me to elaborate on. I'm open to any questions anyone has.
All right, we are now in line for questions. Chair, go.
Hi, could you just give like a brief summary on what this is doing, or like what is urging for exactly? I don't really remember from last week.
So this is basically pushing that the ASF Financials website continues to be updated. It's the database that we use in order to keep track of how basically ASF funded entities are using their funds. The budget report and Senate funds links that are both within the resolution take you to basically what we had access to throughout last fiscal year. So basically the stop being updated once the fiscal year was coming to an end. It just has some more transparency, and it's generally more helpful for ORS, Finance Office, and the Budget Committee than the documents we're currently going to have access to, which are still something, but not quite as well laid out as this has been, at least in the documents we've been given so far. So the transparency is the big thing that we were trying to advocate for, and then there's also the fact that it's impacting other parts of SG.
Alrighty. Are there any other questions for Chair Wanjan? Vice Chair Trainer?
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now in debate. Vice Chair Becerra.
Yeah, I think this is clearly pretty important, not just for ORS, but for like other areas of student government and UCF. So I encourage y'all to vote in favor of it since it's pretty essential.
Chair Temple? Or Senator Barrickman?
I, for one, have definitely said in the past, why am I paying activity fees during COVID? When there's no activities being offered. And now that I know that there is an ANSF budget, I would like for everyone to know where their activity fees are going so that no one ever has to ask the same question. So I will be voting in support. Thank you.
Chair Temple?
May I retain?
You may.
So as sponsor and former ORS chair, I do concur with Vice Chair Becerra and Senator Barrickman. This bill is pretty much a must need, and as much as it is for the financials website to be updated, because without it, three priority committees will not be able to do much of their work efficiently, especially ORS. So if we can get this quickly out to the respective parties, that would be of paramount benefit. With that, move to vote on Resolution 5409.
There's been a motion to vote on Resolution 5409. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. With a vote count of 34 to 0, Resolution 5409 passes favorably on third reading. Alrighty, Resolution 5410. I can't see it for a sec, sorry. Resolution advocating for UCF to unlock higher education. Senator Costas, 5 minutes, whenever you're ready.
Thank you guys for your time. I wasn't going to give a speech, but we all have platforms and people are watching live, so I think we should use them as much as we can to advocate for goodness. So this is just a little speech I wrote last week, but Jason went up to speak, but I'll say it. You can tell a lot about a society by the way it treats its most vulnerable populations. America's incarceration system has seized upon the pre-existing mechanisms that systemically oppress minorities and the poor. Many of the citizens who are incarcerated in our prisons are locked up for nonviolent drug offenses, accusations, or are victims of racial discrimination. Some of them may have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, and some of them may have made bad choices as a result of their environment or their upbringing. But education is a second chance, and it's a way to show the world that you are not defined by your past or what people may think of you. With this bill, I want UCF to provide an easier route for those who want to change their lives, better themselves, and better the world. So please let me know if you have any questions. Not much has changed in the nature of this bill. I have added a few people at the bottom of the bill that I think would benefit from receiving it to do some administrative changes and be more direct with President Cartwright. But other than that, I yield my time.
We are now in line for questions. All those with questions, please raise your hand. Chair Holmes.
I forgot to ask you. I could have texted you this, but I'm just going to ask right now. So have you contacted admissions yet, or if anything? And if so, if you're going to have a meeting, can I come?
I have contacted admissions. They were one of the earliest organizations that I contacted, and they basically just gave me like the groundwork and framework for how the applications are received when somebody checks yes on the box. But at this point, I don't know if it's really necessary to have a meeting with them. I think it'd be more beneficial to have a meeting with somebody from Student Development and Enrollment Services, or specifically President Cartwright.
Are there any other questions for Senator Costas? Chair Temple?
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now in debate. All those wishing to debate, raise your hands. I'm going to go first, Vice Chair Castle.
So yes, I'm highly in support of this bill, as I know this is a very great method to, reduce recidivism in, Orlando, Florida, and, anyone who's attending UCF in general. And yes, I think it goes completely with the motto UCF stands for, diversity and inclusion, as we're letting people who want to just right their wrongs and, have a better life, American dream, y'all know. So I think we should pass this.
Senator Costas.
Move to see my amendment on the resolution.
There's been a motion to see Senator Costas' amendment. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Senator Costas.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief. Just like I mentioned in my speech, these are UCF staff members who I think could help us out in furthering the aspirations of this bill. So I think we should vote in favor of this amendment.
Alrighty, we are now in debate on the amendment. Is there any questions on the amendment? Were there any questions for Senator Costas? Senator Teche.
This isn't a question for Senator Costas, but kind of a learning moment that I think we could all use. So if anyone can answer this, are we allowed to send the resolution to people who aren't in the be it further resolved clauses?
Yeah.
Cool.
Alrighty. Are there any questions for Senator Costas? Seeing none, we are now in debate on the amendment. Is there any senators wishing to debate? Chair Temple.
May I retain?
You may.
This is pretty straightforward. As Senator Costas said, these are additional individuals. I don't see why we could add them in. With that, move to vote on the amendments for Resolution 5410.
There's a motion to vote on the amendments. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. With a vote count of 34 to 0 to 1, the amendments pass favorably. We are still in debate on the resolution. Chair Holmes.
So I wasn't here last meeting and I didn't get to debate on this, but I'm going to obviously be speaking highly in favor. Not only, well, I just want to mention that my dad is part of the 2.5% of Black Americans who have been formerly incarcerated that have a college degree. And so I really believe that this resolution really does advocate for unlocking higher education, because allowing that people that have been formerly incarcerated to get a degree really helps. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little. Really helps them advance, their lives and their careers. And I'm pretty sure lowers recidivism. So I'm going to be voting in favor of this. And I really encourage you all to think about your constituents and the lives that, in the things that you don't know about them, that they might have family members who have been incarcerated and are a part of that 2.5%. So that's all from me.
Alrighty. Senator Margie.
Yeah, so I'm in favor, obviously, but I wanted to talk about the prison industrial complex because it's a huge problem here in America. And because it's such a problem here in America, America has one of the highest recidivism rates at 76.6%. And Norway is only at 20%. So we see it's a problem right here in America. And what's ironic is that prison is meant to be rehabilitation for those who go. Yet that isn't what happens because everyone obviously ends up going right back to prison. So education would help to lower recidivism rates, increase the amount of opportunity that these ex-prisoners have when they actually get out into the workforce. So that's why I'm highly in favor of it. It's a problem that is deeply rooted into American society. So any steps and precedents we can set and steps we can take to helping solve that is really good, especially considering that our own prison system isn't doing its proper job.
With that, I will take a motion. Chair Temple.
Move to vote on Resolution 5410.
There's a motion to vote on Resolution 5410. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. With a vote count of 34 to 0, Resolution 5410 passes favorably on third reading. Alrighty. Special acts, none. Notice legislation on second reading. Constitutional amendments, none. Bills, Internal Bill 5423, updates to Title VI, aligning declaration of candidacy periods. Chair Wanjan, 5 minutes, whenever you're ready.
Hey guys, this is another one I feel like you guys have heard about 1,000 times. I don't want to waste your guys' time. If you have questions, you can ask. If you need me to sum it up, I can, but I'm not going to do it if you guys don't need it.
Alrighty, we are now in line for questions. Chair Gill.
Could you please give a brief summary of what this bill does?
So basically, this aligns the declaration of candidacy periods so that Senate elections and presidential elections are declaration of candidacy at the same time.
Chair Gill.
Can you explain what the declaration of candidacy is, please?
Declaration of candidacy is when you have to submit like your application packet, when that can be approved, that sort of timeline. So if you applied to run for Senate way ahead of the declaration of candidacy time, they wouldn't approve it until 4 weeks before the election was taking place. With this bill, last year it would have been 2 weeks before the election took place.
Alrighty, are there any other questions for Chair Wanjan? Seeing none, I will take a motion. Chair Temple.
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now in debate. I'm going to go ELA to Marla.
I'll be voting in favor for this. E&A had a really deep discussion. We contacted a lot of people. We talked with a lot of people about it, especially people who would have more understanding on the exact situation and the pros and cons of everything. So aligning the candidacy periods really helped EC a lot. Election Commission made their jobs easier and just made it easier for everyone in the process in general. So that's why I'll be voting for it.
Are there any other senators wishing to debate? Chair Gill.
Move to vote on Internal Bill 5423.
There's been a motion to vote on Internal Bill 5423. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're there. With a vote count of 33 to 1, Internal Bill 5423 passes favorably on second reading. Alrighty. Resolutions, none. Proclamations, none. Special acts, none. Before we get to Senate forum, is there a motion to return to approval of the agenda? Alrighty, we are now at approval of the agenda. Chair Millington.
Do you want me to make the motion to approve it?
Did you add it back?
I added it.
Yeah, make the motion. Yeah.
Move to reapprove the agenda.
There's a motion to reapprove the agenda. Are there any objections? Seeing none, is there a motion to return to FAO committee reports? Chair Millington.
All right, sorry guys, I missed one allocation off the bottom of my report, so that's on me. But in committee, we also approved allocation 5432-700. That's it.
Alrighty, is there a motion to return to Senate forum? Before I get there, Senator Moll.
Just quick point of inquiry. Why was abstain not an option on the previous vote?
That's a Brody question.
Because we forgot to add a poll for that one, so I had to use one of our kind of extra votes that we always have as backups. And just a clerical error on our side, the abstain option is always the same as just not voting, so it doesn't have any practical reason. But yeah, just a mistake on our end.
Alrighty, we are now in Senate forum. Chair Gell, I think you're reading for Vice Chair Almanar.
Yeah, so Vice Chair Almanar is out of town right now, so he asked me to read his Senate forum. So I'm Vice Chair Almanar. I am out of town for the remainder of this week, but I feel as if I have to say something on what the nature of Senate has become. It has become toxic. There have been multiple times this fall that I've simply felt like walking out of this body and resigning. I've been advised by former SG agents to resign as well. I still do not know why I have not left. I guess I just hope that things will get better, but I have not seen any actions by individuals in this chamber, that indicate that things are reaching a turning point. Sorry, like the cursors are blocking the words. We have become an embarrassment not only to administrators at the university, but to other universities in the state of Florida. Everyone can see what goes on in this chamber. Please try to have empathy for each other and try to understand how each other and every one of you in this chamber can make the person next to you feel. Like it or not, we have to work together while we are in this institution. Learn to respect others before you demand respect yourself. Vice Chair Almanar.
Senator Teche.
Howdy, Senate. I wanted to give these last week, but we ran out of time. So the first one is because I forgot to include this back-to-back weeks now in Disability Caucus updates. Please join Disability Caucus. Other than Dylan and Jade, who are on every caucus, it's me, Tyler, and Katrina. And I would like more people than that, especially because our ex-officios are really kicking ass, and I'm proud of them, and I want them to have more Senate support. My bad. Anyway, second thing, I remember that like a few months ago, when Senator Ferguson left Senate, I told everyone that I would take over the CAP stuff. And I'd like to update you on the fact that I am working on that. Netta and I had a meeting with someone from the alumni center to talk about, trying to raise donations and whatever. So it's a slow process, but it's happening and it's one of my top priorities. So, we're moving along in that. So no worries. And then lastly, if any of you would like to partake in some giving over the next little bit, in a couple weeks on October 11th and 12th, UCF YDSA will be hosting a clothing drive that is giving out free clothing to all students on campus, but focusing especially on trying to get gender affirming clothing to trans and non-binary students on campus. So if you have any old clothes or shoes or anything of that sort that you think we could use, I'll put the donation link in there, or you could just text me and I can come pick that stuff up. And try to encourage people, especially the queer students on campus, to go to that event on the 11th and 12th on Memory Mall from 10 to 4. That's all.
All right. ELA DeMarlo.
Hello. I want to take a moment to send love to all our fiscal committees. I see a lot of people sitting on activism committees, and I am in full support of that, but I feel like people don't realize how you can do activism through Fiscal. A lot of the things that Fiscal does provide funding for help fund and support and encourage the spread of culture on campus, and I think that's such an important thing to do. Culture is the basis of all society. It's the basis of equality, and I feel that
I think it's amazing to spread culture and the arts and things we can do for our community, all the like cultural events that different RSOs are able to have are because of fiscal committees. So I'd love to see more people on it. And just, yeah.
Alrighty, Chair Tubble.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So before I get on to what I actually intended on saying, I also wanted to affirm what Elena Marla had said. The fiscal committees are an extremely important part of this body. And that's not just me saying it because I sit on ORS and I was once chair of ORS. It is perhaps one of the most direct ways that people can not only interact with student government, but they can also benefit from them the most. So if you see any spots open on FAO, CRT, ORS, please take a minute to consider what good that can be done by joining those committees, and not to mention how much knowledge and just general hoopla that you guys can learn from sitting in on those meetings, because they can be fascinating. And especially you get extremely jealous considering the fact that you could probably see somebody go off to Italy when you yourself want to go to Italy. But I digress. Back to what I actually wanted to announce. APAC is hosting their assembly on the 25th of September, which is this Sunday at 5 p.m. in the Pegasus Ballroom. If you're willing and able to, come out and have some fun with the APA community. I heard they're kind of wanting to register students to vote. I wonder why that's the case.
Senator Hurl.
I just wanted to share something that I thought was really cool that I recently heard from one of my professors in Creole. UCF's Creole program is 3rd in public universities and 7th in overall in universities in the United States, which means we're only 2 spots away from MIT, which I think is a great accomplishment because MIT is very smart in engineering. And then also happy Deaf Awareness Week, and that is deaf, not death, because I got mixed up in exec today, but Deaf Awareness Week.
All right. Before we move on, let's just give a little round of applause for the Creole program, because that is very impressive. So that's great to hear. ILA Yalamanchili.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have multiple thoughts to share on the state of speakers, which I find a rather somber thing to say. I understand that it is a rule in the Senate and in FAO that speakers must be funded based on content neutral ideas, but I would like to bring up something that I feel that everybody should remember, called the paradox of tolerance. That the paradox of tolerance states that if a society is tolerant without limit, its ability to be tolerant is eventually seized or destroyed by the intolerant. I think everybody in the Senate should remember that. I think that there is a limit to what can be allowed on campus and what cannot be allowed on campus, and I'm sure that that must be pursued in a way that is legal and in a way that is not unethical. I would ask that FAO reconsider its policies on speakers, because when you have a policy of allowing all speakers, there is potential for very bad things to happen. That is much worse than having no speakers at all. I feel it was misguided. I think FAO should reconsider it, because it can leave communities like the LGBT community to dry. That is an issue that I feel that I deeply care about. And now it's some more exciting news. This day in history, 1896, Queen Victoria surpassed her grandfather, King George III, as the longest reigning monarch in British history. She was later beaten by the late Queen Elizabeth II. In 1919, the steel strike of 1919, led by the Amalgamated Association of Iron and Steel Workers, began in Pennsylvania and then spread across the United States. The strike was ultimately a failure, but I love to see workers fighting for their rights. Thank you.
All Alrighty. Before we move on, before I get to you, Senator Costas, I just want to preface, because I understand that this issue surrounding FAO is controversial for many and have opinions, but I do want to make clear, if we do have conversations going forward, whether in here or outside, that it is not Chair Millington or FAO's fault for the policy that exists. And just when we are phrasing terminology, whatnot, that it's not attacking Chair Millington and the others as people that don't care about different communities that exist on campus. I think there should be a robust conversation about this, but let's at least try to personify the problem, because the problem is not Chair Millington and the other members of FAO. Moving along, Senator Costas.
Yeah. Firstly, thank you guys for helping me pass that bill. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to a lot of other people. But I did want to discuss Vice Chair Almanar's statement really quick. In my opinion, Senate was extremely hard to be in and was very toxic at the beginning of the session. I know some of you guys might feel that same sentiment. Some of you might not. But recently, I have felt like Senate has become a little bit of a more friendly environment, especially with the fantastic people we have in leadership, like you guys, Yalamanchili, DeMarla, Wanjan, and Borges, Tashe, Saucedo, Anderson, everybody, literally. I think everybody does a great job at their job. But I do want to see Senate take up more things in regards to activism to make sure that we aren't forgetting the power we have and we yield administratively. And as students, I think we should really maximize our time in this body to do good for those that struggle to fight for themselves. But yeah, I know the article came out. I just don't think Senate is as bad as it was. So that's my opinion.
Chirigo.
Sorry. I first really want this chamber to understand how important fiscal committees are. And even just like sitting in CRT, it's kind of really sad that the numbers are very low because A, Chair Borges is swamped, and B, I remember sitting on CRT. I can't sit on it now, but I learned so many cool organizations that were on campus and so many cool opportunities that while advocacy is awesome, if we don't know all of the resources and all of the RSOs that are coming to us, how could we advocate for them? As much as some of us are in similar orgs, some of us are in completely different orgs, and we do a good job with trying to do that, but I think we could do a better job if more people were involved in fiscal committees. Advocacy is great, but you can only advocate for what you know, and you can only, it's hard to grow when you're sitting in the same committee over and over again. And while it's great, they're swamped, and workday is not any easier. And, you know, listening to a lot of their grievances, I think it's really important that we do listen to them and really do amplify fiscal committees right now. And so on that note, please join them. They're honestly not that bad. I know numbers seem scary and you're like, oh my God, but what if I don't know what I'm doing? Honestly, it's really not that bad. And once you get the hang of it, it's kind of really fun. And I'm not really like an engineer person like likes numbers like that, but I find it enjoyable. And then my second thing is Director of Communications, please be active on the social media. Please, those SG posts, like comment on them, like them, repost them. Like, I think it's so important. Like, yes, it might get annoying when you see Chair Temple's Instagram story, 60 things long. It's kind of how I get my news sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. But I think it's really important. And I think that it, you know, can seem a little redundant, but you don't know what student's going to see that. You don't know what student needed to see that. You don't know what person needed that extra reminder. And I think it's really important that we really emphasize that. And last thing, sorry, what FAO is doing. Chair Millington, you are awesome and you rock. And I hope you know that at least I can say, I don't think any of this is your fault. And I think FAO is doing the best they can. And please know that this chamber has your back. And if you ever need anything, Chair Millington, please send a message in that group me, because I think you're awesome, and continue being awesome, Queen.
So I, for one, appreciate clicking through Chair Temple's 60 Instagram stories. Moving along, Chair Holmes.
I'll keep this short because we've been informed for a minute, but this is more for my caucus members as well. Like, please make sure you really understand, fiscal and everything, because we did have 15 RSOs, probably 16, honestly, if I'm being honest, at our meeting. And it's just very important, like, as senators, to really understand and know fiscal policy. If you haven't sat on a committee yet, please do. I think I sat on FAO before. That helped me so much with understanding fiscal, and I was able to help the RSOs along with the committee chairs, but obviously they know way more than me, but they're just very, very overwhelmed. And the best thing that you can do when you do sponsor these RSOs is knowing fiscal policy. It will take a weight off of these committee chairs' shoulders, because we are looking to do a fiscal workshop, but they do need the support of senators when it comes to getting that funding for RSOs. So this goes to my caucus members specifically, but that can apply to other senators as well.
Alrighty. Are there any other senators wishing to speak during Senate Forum? Senator Berkman.
I would just like to thank everybody here for the warm welcome over the past week. I've spoken to no less than 10 or 15 of you all, and received assistance from you all as well. It has been wonderful to get to know several of you, and I look forward to the work ahead. Thanks.
Chair Temple.
More or less just an appreciation. I really appreciated that you guys actually do scroll through those, even though you guys are just as insane as I am for putting them up there. Well, that actually pushes me to want to do more than 60 of those posts at a time.
I don't know if that was the conclusion extrapolated from that, but you post as many as you want. It is your right.
So long as the chair affirms of it.
Senator Hurl.
Can I ask a question to Chair Temple?
You may.
Can you maybe put said Instagram for our newcomers? Because I have yet to see these beautifully long stories.
I will send you that link personally through the agenda. I don't want to subject anybody else to those very long Instagram stories. I'm still trying to push for more though.
Alrighty. Are there any other senators wishing to speak during Senate Forum? Seeing none, Senate deliberations. Are there any senators wishing to enter into a period of deliberation? Seeing none, advisors report. Brody.
All right, not a lot for me this week. I want to let you all know, you may have seen over the last couple of days added to new channels in Teams, because I know you all are looking at your Teams all the time. But there have been some new additions. That is because in the very near future, we will be fully shifting over to using Teams. So that does mean when we do that we will not be using the Google Drive anymore. Ideally, not be using GroupMe anymore. It'll all be in Teams. It's going to be wonderful. So yes, we're looking at trying to get that all shifted over by October 1st. That's the timeline we're looking at. We've added some functionality to it, and then Aloe and Netta and I are all going to be kind of shifting over a lot of documents, a lot of the stuff from the Google Drive, so it's all there and ready to go. If you have concerns, if you want help getting access to it or any issues like that, just let me know. Happy to kind of walk through it. And I will just say, yeah, Teams is the worst, but it's also what the university gets a lot of money to use. So there we go.
I'm going to need the live stream to scrap that last 10 seconds and replace it with our university overlords are really happy that we have Teams. Moving along. ELA tomorrow. Or what's happening? Okay, ELA tomorrow.
Sorry, I had a quick question. How will the public still be able to access all the documents?
Yes. Working on exactly how that's going to work. I think we may still have the Google Drive for the agenda, so they can come and see it, and then it will have links to documents that they can view, kind of thing. So not 100% sure on that, but we'll make sure that we're being just as transparent as we are now.
Senator Hurl.
Do you think maybe you can do information session on Teams because I have never used it, and I feel like a 5-year-old trying to play around with it. So if you could do like an information session, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I think we can. I'll think about that and set something up so we can kind of talk through it and can kind of share screen and maybe bring it up in here and have it up for somebody. Yeah. I'll think more about that. But it's a good idea.
Senator Domino.
I fully support Teams. I love it. I use it all day at work, so it's great. Excitement.
Power to you.
Pro Tem Foster.
So, Brody, are we supposed to sign in with our Senate emails to Teams, or how does that work? Because I'm kind of in the same boat as Pharrell over here, where I used it maybe once.
Yeah, so good question. No, you will use your Knights email to log in. Now, so you should have an invitation to your Knights email to join the team or something to that effect. There is some weirdness when you go and log in. So when you log into Teams, you'll see that there is not a team there for student government. If you go to the top right and you click on your name, there's like an option for your Knights account and an option for an enterprise account. You have to switch to the enterprise account, and then you will see the student government team, and you'll see all the sub channels and everything in there. So yes, you'll log in with your Knights, and there will be lots more questions, and we will work through them. It'll be fun, I promise.
Are there any other questions for Brody? Seeing none, advisor's report, Netta.
Hello, everyone. Great job at Senate. I'm very, very proud. We got out of here a little early, so I'm not going to take too long. In my Outlook calendar, I added in times where I'm like completely free and I'm going to like be in the office. So if you want to set up a meeting with me, that's like just so you feel comfortable and it's not just like my blank canvas Outlook and you're just like, oh, I don't know, can I set up a meeting at 10 in the morning? Of course we can set up a meeting at 10 in the morning. I am very flexible though. So if you have a time that like you would like to meet outside of this, just let me know. So yeah, great work, everyone.
Are there any questions for Netta? Seeing none, advisor's report, Ella.
Hi. I don't have any business for you guys, but I will challenge you all. I know we're all kind of like type A people in this chamber. I see a lot of people working themselves really hard. And I know how terrible burnout can feel. So I challenge you all to set a self-goal or a self-care goal for yourselves this week. One of my therapists told me to start drinking tea. So that's the thing I'm doing now. And I don't know that it's making anything better, but it tastes good. So it can be small. Also, I said this during exec, but a few weeks ago, I adopted a second cat. So I linked he's not very photogenic. I'm going to be honest with you guys. In the first picture, he actually is in the background. That's why my other cat, Simon, is glaring at the camera so aggressively. But I will try to provide you all with cat pictures during the week on Senate nights so that you can have something to look forward to, even if it's just my crazy little guys. So enjoy.
Chair Temple.
More just a comment. If in the first picture, it feels like there's a story going on in this one. Like I see the spray bottle in the front, the cat is glaring at you. What's the story behind that?
So the black cat is Suzu and the orange one is Simon. And when I first adopted Suzu, Simon really likes other cats. He did not enjoy this one as much as I thought he would. So there was some water training involved for about a week.
Alrighty, are there any other questions for Aloe? Senator Teche.
Are the other senators who own cats able to add to this file? And if so, may you all please do that?
I'll make sure it's editable.
Alrighty, are there any other questions for Aloe? Chair, go.
I don't know if we're doing senator shout outs, but I've been meaning to shout out Aloe for the last 2 weeks. So please give a round of applause for Aloe. They're amazing. I love Aloe and they deserve the world. I'm sorry. You're great.
Are there any other questions? Well, I feel like it's about to be shout outs. So I'm going to go back to Brody if you would like to open the.
Yeah, I just totally forgot about them. So thank you, Daisy, for the reminder. Who has got some senator shout outs? McClellan, you're up.
I'd like to do an anti shout out, senator condemnation of Microsoft Teams.
All right. See if you get called on again. Temple.
Yeah, I also want to give an anti shout out to Microsoft Teams. Look, sorry, but I also want to give out actual shout outs first off to Senator Costas for creating a very, very good piece of advocacy legislation. Chair Holmes and the Black Caucus for sending oh my God, there's too many to count, for hosting the 15 RSOs to help with their fiscal training. The fiscal committees, because one, they're awesome. Two, they actually help Black Caucus as well. The Hispanic Latinx Caucus for hosting the Afro Latinx event today. Fantastic job, guys. Of course, the RS committee in particular, because one, that's the committee I'm a part of, and two, they went through a very much hastened agenda, and GAP because it's GAP. I gotta do it.
All right. Vihan. I have multiple shout outs. My first shout out goes to Senator Costas for passing his legislation on helping those with convictions get access to better education. I think it's great, and Costas did a great job. My second shout out goes to LJR as always, because LJR is the best committee in Senate. No offense. My third shout out goes to Chair Temple and GAP for a very good job as always. And my fourth shout out goes to our wonderful Senate graduate assistant Netta, because you see in SGLC, this was my placard. I wrote it, and my name looks bad because that's my handwriting. But then Aloe took my placard, and then she did some very beautiful calligraphy out of it, and I think it looks great. So yeah, shout out to Netta because she's great, and that's about it. Thank you.
All right. Gina?
Okay, I wasn't able to give a shout out last week, but of course to our FAO chair, Miss Millington over there just vibing away. And also our new vice chair for FAO. Love you lots.
All right, Demarla?
Shout out to everyone who scheduled a one-on-one with me, and everyone who will schedule a one-on-one with me. Wink, wink, hint, hint. Please schedule a one-on-one with me.
All right, Katrina?
So shout out to Brody for being my go-to person to listen to all my problems. And also to Chair Holmes and the Black Caucus for hosting such a great, not funding workshop, but like letting us talk to all the RSOs. And also, even though I'm sure none of them are looking at this, all the RSOs who were there for being so engaged and having so many questions, even though I was not prepared for half of them.
All right. Ethan, you already got one. Brianna?
I wanted to shout out LJR for welcoming me this past week, not only into their committee, but also as their new vice chair. I'm really excited. It's really cool. You guys should join. And then also shout out to CRT. We've been doing great things. You should join CRT too. We need the help, so please come. It's really fun, I promise. And then also Netta and Aloe, because you guys are great. Also Brody, because you're great. And then everyone, that's it.
All right, Mel? Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to shout out Chair Gell, Speaker Hall, Chair Anderson, and Vice Chair Almanar, because I've had hard conversations with all of them, and I think that's the best way to improve the environment in this Senate, is to have one-on-one conversations about any issues you might be having instead of blowing it up out of proportion and creating drama. So I really like to thank all of you and appreciate all of you for having those hard conversations with me.
Domino?
Shout out to Senator Mole for getting university exec leadership out here to speak on behalf of the legislation. Shout out to Senator Costas for having a firsthand story relating to the importance of your legislation, and to also Chair Holmes as well for sharing such a personal story within her immediate family, and for being awesome at Black Caucus. We're really killing it out here. So, yeah.
to that point, I think there's some interesting research out there that talks about how like you can have as many stats and data as you want to, but what actually changes people's minds is stories, is individual stories, right? Which like it shouldn't be that way, right? Because an anecdote is not as indicative as like evidence as data, but that's how people work. So bringing in the firsthand stories, the individuals responsible, that's a great point. So thank you, Dwayne. Costas.
Quick shout out to Fiscal, and then a quick anti shout out to Chair Anderson for getting me sick.
Ooh. Jason.
First of all, I thought anti-shoutouts were dead because I did the first one ever and I got super decorumed. But I guess when you're calling out the internet instead of exec, they get less mad. But actual shout out to, first of all, Michael, obviously, but everyone already said beautiful things about you, so I'll just say them in private to you. And then I love Michael. This guy rocks. Anyway, and then shout out to Netta for helping me with the cap stuff and just generally making up for my lack of organizational skills by setting up the meeting, taking minutes at the meeting, and facilitating the meeting while I just kind of rambled and you explained to them what I wanted. I like, if this does end up working out, it's definitely going to be more because of you than because of me. So I appreciate that.
All right, Sierra.
First, I'm going to shout out Senator Costas for that resolution. And honestly, if my dad's a very important person to me. He's the main reason why I'm even in Senate. Like he really helps me. He really nurtures my passions and everything. And he's the one that really pushed me to run for Black Caucus Chair when I first ran. And look, I'm here. So really appreciate my dad. He's an amazing person. I'm so glad he was able to get his degree. He gets his master's next month. So woohoo to that. Thank you. I just want to shout out my caucus also because y'all are amazing and I just would love to accommodate to anything that you need. I know y'all be seeing my messages, so don't ignore that. Anyways, yeah, and I want to I'm sorry. I want to shout out Vice Chair Castellan. She's amazing, y'all. If you get to talk to her, please do. We went to JTWHS. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. We went to a workout exercise group last week. Y'all, I think we're besties. Don't tell her. But anyways, yeah, I just want to shout her out, my caucus, and Pro Temp Foster. You were my first vice chair. I still always appreciate you. And the committee chairs, I know I've shouted y'all out like 3 times already, but I don't think y'all understand how much I appreciate you. Please take care of yourselves. I know that this can be really wearing and tearing on your mental health and everything. And I'm if y'all want to talk, I'm open to it. Let me know. I'm here to support you. And that's it from me.
All right, Dylan.
Yeah, so I just have a couple. First one to kind of knock out here is all the SGLC coordinators, not just our amazing ILA Alamanchili, but both the internal and external assistant chief justices, Shelby and Lizzie-Beth, as well as deputy chief of staff. You all saw Jennifer. They did a great with their first big SGLC meeting. Y'all, there were like 62 people in here. It was more full than those. And to be honest, like seeing a lot of passion and energy from them, especially the wave of them that entered the office as I was looking out of the corner of my eye, was definitely really great to see. So I'm excited to see what they do with that program. I want to shout out all of the caucus chairs for the great work that y'all are doing, particularly the different events that we've seen, not just this week, but in the past. Hope we can continue to do more. Shout out to all the committee chairs. I know it can be difficult, particularly those that do not have full committees when it comes to both the caseload and just trying to get through things to just really help everyone understand how appreciated they are for the work that they do, because it is actual work. And it does require attention. And I do want to make sure that they're not falling through the cracks when it comes to that. So I'll echo everyone of saying, join as many as you can. They're actually kind of fun. And then I guess my last 2 shout outs, one to Senator Barrickman, actually, for kind of jumping head into Senate. I mean, literally he got confirmed and was already asking questions on the first bill that he saw. I think that that's commendable kind of behavior, and I'm excited to see what more you do in Senate. And then my last one is just to shout out everyone. And I know that's kind of cheesy, but I know it's difficult having to sit here every Thursday. Thankfully, we will not be here till midnight tonight. I feel like I jinxed that, but generally speaking, I know that it can be a huge time commitment. I know it's a time commitment for myself, but a big difference here is that I am paid to be here. So shameless about it, but I'm saying the reality is I know for a lot of you, you're not. And taking the time to care about students is important. And I just really want to reemphasize to everyone that that is why we're here. And you all, especially the last couple meetings, I've really seen that energy around the chamber. And I hope to continue to see that in the coming weeks.
We will get out of here before midnight as long as Dylan doesn't keep going with the shout out.
People have had much longer than me, so I will claim my time for that.
Nick. Okay, my arm is killing me. I was like one of the first person to have my hands up. Okay, no shade to you though, Brody. I'm just
Sure. Okay, first I gotta go Speaker Hall. I didn't really hear anyone shout him out, but he's been really holding things down. You know, even aside from a speaker, he's a really good person to talk to, even as a friend. He's really cool at Lego sets and stuff in his office. So if you ever just want someone to talk to because you're not in a good mood or you need some advice, this is the guy right here. I feel like Brianna Urea and Brianna Harrell, my God, I almost butchered that. Really underrated people. You know, I've talked to them a lot this week and just getting to know them on a more personal basis, super cool. I like to get to know people. So definitely Brianna Urea, you know, chair of LJR. Now we got Brianna Squared, vice chair of LJR. Nimbargi. He's been very, very, very attentive to Senate, always asking questions, trying to get involved. Love to see that. Same for Barrickman. I approached him today. He asked me how I was doing. First thing that was out of his mouth was, how are you doing? And I was just trying to put him in the Senate group chat. So really appreciate that. Got to go with my classic over here, Chair Holmes. So, well, you're the best. Seriously. Like, you always put on the best caucus events. And I see Mel is kind of catching up to you now. So I'm going to need you to kind of step it up a little bit. Vice Chair Castellan. Yes, very underrated. Anderson, yes, you're fire, literally fire. I love that. Aiden's had his hand up for a while too, so can I yield to him?
No, that's not how it works.
That's not how that works. Okay,
that's not
I'm
how
done.
this works. I just go around the room, so it's how it goes. So now Aiden.
Cool. Okay. Quick shout out to Michael and Loki for our first meeting of the RWC tonight, the Raccoon Watching Club. We saw a lot of raccoons. It was great. Shout out Thomas for being my twin tonight. We unintentionally matched, so that was pretty cool. And obviously, I have to shout out Senate Pro Tempore Nicholas Leon Foster for the classic turtleneck suit combo with the gold pin. Classic.
He's coming for your Foster fit check. That's what that is. Loki.
I'll do this as quick as I possibly can. First off, shout out to the Chicago Cubs for a great 2 out of 3 games won in the series against the Miami Marlins. It was great to watch them win in person and to cue Peppas after that last win in Game 3. Second of all, shout out to Senator Costas for some great advocacy. Especially last week, bringing in someone from staff to be able to speak on your resolution. That's a really good idea. To be able to have someone who has that experience and can really speak on the issues. Also, it's Hispanic Heritage Month, and I don't think I officially got it able to be put into the minutes last week. But first of all, for last week, I would like to shout out Cuba. Cuban people and descendants of Cubans, particularly 2 of my favorite Cubans who are in this room right now, Speaker Hall, or as they call him down in Broward County, Dale Dillon. And Chair Taché, or as I like to call him, Big Papi. And...
All right, we're just gonna leave that one completely alone.
No,
David.
I still got more. For this week,
God.
though, I'd like to shout out Mexico, its people and descendants of Mexicans, especially Chair Saucedo, who does a great job with the Hispanic Latinx caucus. And I guess something kind of new, kind of like a special type of shout out Debate of the day definitely has to go to Chair Holmes. Your debate on Michael's resolution really spoke to me. And I thought that, being able to put your voice and your story out there like that just really touched me personally. And it was great for you to be able to share that. And finally, just thank you to Dean Jeff Moore from the College of Arts and Humanities and the assistant to the Dean, Paul Artenois, for coming out tonight and speaking on that resolution and just taking the time to be able to do that. It really shows, how much they care about this. And I hope that we're able to show how much we as Senate care about this issue. But that's it.
All right, Daisy.
First and foremost, Aloe, I hope you put your shout out there and put round of applause as well. Shout out to Vice Chair Trainer. He always puts a smile on my face, and he's a great person and a great vice chair and just great overall. Get to know him. Shout out Senator Brenner. Senator Brenner, it was his first ENA meeting this week, and I just was really appreciated. He definitely was engaged, and I really appreciate you, Senator Brenner, so I hope you feel appreciated. I was going to shout out one more person. Oh, Mike Evans. Shout out Mike Evans, and that's all I'm going to say. Oh, and my parents. My parents are watching, so shout out to my parents. You guys are great.
All right. Castellan.
Or Senator Castellan, before you that, Senator Spalding.
Present and voting.
So noted at 9:50 p.m. Continue.
First, shout out to Hispanic Latinx Caucus for their event today with Mel and especially Gabriel, because apparently he held 10 tables. I don't know what he was doing, but shout out to him. Shout out to Chair Holmes for having consistent initiatives with Black Caucus. She would think about things I wouldn't even think about. So shout out to her for being very consistent with that. Shout out to Thomas Kura for just always having spontaneous energy every time I see him, every single time. Shout out to Pro Tem Foster for just being great and sending out that reception email. I'm excited for that. Shout out to Chair Temple with GAP and just being great with that. I'm loving the subcommittees that we're doing. And definitely see a lot of progress with that, and I feel like it's very effective. And I feel like I'm missing someone. Shout out to everyone for being here tonight. Yes.
All right, Barrickman.
A shout out to the Venezuelan Student Association. We approved some funding for some Chick-fil-A sandwiches for an event that they're going to have on the 24th. And a negative shout out to our governor, Ron DeSantis, for shipping a plane load of Venezuelan immigrants from Texas to Martha's Vineyard.
All right, AJ.
Shout out to Senator Harrell for becoming the vice chair of LGR this week. Also, shout out to all the people that sat down with her and taught her how to do vice chair now. Also, shout out to Senator Kira for bringing his enthusiastic energy towards GAP yesterday.
All right. We will now circle back around. Vihan. I have a few more. Once again, shout out to Senator Hurrell for being the vice chair of LJR. I'm very happy to have you in LJR. Also, a shout out to Chair Salcedo and Vice Chair Becerra for hosting a beautiful Hispanic Heritage Month event with all the Hispanic RSOs tabling this morning. I think it was this morning. So that was pretty cool. Shout out to Chair Temple. One, for not being too excited in SGLC, and two, for entertaining my galaxy brain crazy ideas for this Model UN Club's Night Month this year. And lastly, shout out to Chair Wanjin for being the most drippy today. I'm sorry, Nick, that I'm taking over Foster's fit check for you. Brianna.
I did forget to shout out Vice Chair Robbins, D-Leg McClellan, and Chair Urea for sitting down with me and helping me out with what to do for Vice Chair, as well as Vice Chair, no, D. Sir Patel, for showing me a cool tool on Google Docs to help me out with taking minutes, as well as Chair Gell, Chair Borges, and Pro Temp Foster for encouraging me to join, try to get involved with leadership within Senate.
All right. Gabe.
So shout out to Thomas for the drip. Always. Every week, bro. Every week. And shout out to Yashika for helping my RSO out with fundraising. We appreciate that. As well as Mel and JC and AJ. Yeah, because you were there too. If I'm forgetting anyone, shout out to you too.
All right. Thomas.
Shout out to not only everyone that shouted me out, but also for recognizing the drip when Foster can't. But I'm just kidding. You're rocking the turtleneck. Shout out to everyone just for there's so much positivity and love going around. I'm loving it. You know, with shout out to Brody for doing the shout outs, and I think it really keeps everyone together and in a good mood. And at the end of the day, all right,
Loki.
Yeah, real quick shout outs. Number one, shout out to Senator Potier for the Dark Brandon shirt. It's a great shirt. And shout out to the RWC, the Raccoon Watching Club. If you want to join the Raccoon Watching Club, we meet during Fiscal and Internal Caucus in the Cypress Dome.
All right. Ethan. Oh, wait, hold on. AJ?
Real quick, I forgot. Shout out to McClellan, Temple, and me for looking like the Three Musketeers today. Sorry, Foster, you weren't included.
All right, Ethan, finish this out.
I knew you were doing this on purpose. But in any case, shout out to Kira for being an extremely active individual, both in GAP and in SBA. We love the passion. I myself especially love it. Shout outs to, of course, AJ and McClellan for literally dressing up like Three Musketeers. And, oh my God, I swear I thought I had another one. Well, it's by default. Shout outs to the Hispanic Latinx community outside Las Banderas.
All right. And with that, we will go back to whatever else we have to do.
Awesome. Okay. One quick thing that I will say, lots of fun, lots of energy. Only thing going forward, I understand there's some things with anti-shoutouts. Let's try to avoid politics as much as we can in those anti-shoutouts. Y'all know my opinion on it, and my opinion on Ron. But at the same time, there's different places where we can talk about that, like Senate Forum, miscellaneous business, whatnot, just to avoid that as much as we can to not make anyone feel weird. Moving along to miscellaneous business, appointments. I hereby appoint Senator Saucedo to SBA. Elections. Yeah, we have an election, y'all. ANSF alternate seat. Y'all thought we were getting out so soon. Alrighty. Is there a motion to open the floor for nominations? We are now there. All those wishing to nominate Aile Alamanchili.
I nominate Chair Taché, as well as Senator Mole and Senator Cura.
Chair Taché, do you accept?
No, thank you.
Senator Mole?
No.
Senator Cura? I respectfully decline. Alrighty. Chair Anderson.
Can we do the same thing that Taché did last time and just see who's willing to do it? I don't know if we're allowed to do that. Yeah, just.
Well, let's go through the existing people that are nominating, and then we can get Senator Mole. No. Chair Gill.
Vice Chair Nimbarji, Vice Chair Trainer, Senator Brenner, Vice Chair Castellan. Senator Barrickman. And that's it.
Alrighty. Vice Chair Nimbarji, do you accept?
No, I respectfully decline.
Vice Chair Trainer.
Because of time conflicts, no, I cannot.
Senator Brenner,
So respectfully decline.
Vice Chair Castleman,
I will be out of town, so I respectfully decline. Sorry.
Senator Berkman,
I would like nothing more.
that's a yes. Pro Tem Foster,
I'm gonna go with Senator Poitier and Chair Holmes.
Senator Portier. All right, let's keep decorum though. Chair Holmes.
What's the time commitment? That's my question.
Brody, do you want to just run that down?
Yeah. So generally either weekly or bi-weekly, about an hour meetings, but December 12th, 13th, and 14th, 8 to 5. So it's right after finals, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, full days. You are fed during those days, but yeah, full days.
Chair Holmes.
I'll accept.
ELA tomorrow.
I have a question for Brody. It's kind of related. Do we get holiday pay?
No, it's not a paid role. It's a out of the goodness of your heart type of role.
ILA Chile.
I have a few more nominations. Senator Uochoa, Senator Parmar, and let's see, Vice Chair Becerra.
Senator Uochoa.
I respectfully decline.
Senator Parmar.
I'll accept.
No. Vice Chair Becerra.
I was gonna accept, but I respectfully decline.
Chair Gell.
Vice Chair Harrell.
Vice Chair Harrell.
I'll accept.
Senator Mole.
If there's anyone who would say yes if I nominated you, could you just raise your hands? Move to close nominations.
All right, there's been a motion to close the floor for nominations. Are there any objections? Seeing none. All right, is there a motion for speech, questioning, and debate? I'll let D. McClellan.
3-minute speeches, 15-minute debate, 15-minute questioning.
There's been a motion for 3-minute speeches, 15-minute questioning, 15-minute debate. Are there any objections? You withdraw? Senator Teche.
Let's make that a 3-minute question or 3-minute speech, 10-minute questioning, 10-minute debate. Everyone good with that? Cool.
There's been a motion for 3-minute speeches, 10-minute questioning, 10-minute debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are there. So we're going to go in order of who was nominated. And I will also preface, and Brody can correct me, this is for one seat, correctly? One. So there will be no weird voting like we've been having to do. So with that, Senator Berkman, 3 minutes, whenever you're ready.
As I said last week, I have a few years of experience accounting and bookkeeping professionally. I have a great interest in helping direct the funds as needed in our student government. I also took a look into the funding of the MSC, as that was a topic of conversation last week. And we have, as a body, approved more funding than they have asked for every year, which has been an increasing amount of funding. And I'm not saying that I would change that, but I would like to say that that is a fact. That's it. I'll be here.
Alrighty, Chair Holmes, 3 minutes, whenever you're ready.
I don't really know what to say, but I do not have that much experience. But I would like to be, involved because I know I've heard some students talk about how the ANSF budget is utilized. So I would love to take an introspective look into that and be able to, use my advocacy for other students and, for our organizations and everything that we fund. So I guess that's my take on it.
Ready, Senator Palmer.
Hey everyone, as you guys know, I'm on the FAO committee. So at this point, I've got some experience with allocations and how the funding process goes. I really have no idea what the ANSF committee seat is about. By the name, I'm guessing it's more related to the budgeting and how much the FAO and CRT and everyone, all the other committees are getting funded. So I would really like to get an understanding of how we are being allocated our funds, so that at the end of the day, I'll be able to help out students and let them know how their funds are being allocated. So that'd be super fun. In terms of experience, I have done a lot of bookkeeping and accounting for my father's business in the past for a couple of years. So I think that counts. At least for 4 to 5 years, I was in charge of his income tax statements and stuff like that. So that was super fun. And with that, I'll yield my time.
Senator Hurl.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as Chair Holmes. I don't really have that much experience. I do know pretty basic ideas of ANSF committee. Like I know a little bit, not super knowledgeable, but if I was put in this alternate seat, I will do my reading. I promise that. But with that, yeah, I mean, I sit on CRT. That's as much fiscal knowledge as I know. I budget every month, but that's about it. But I do love advocating for groups that kind of go unnoticed. That's a big thing of mine. I love to speak up for those who feel like they can't speak up on their own. But yeah.
Alrighty, we are now in line for 10 minutes of questioning. All those with questions. I'm going to go Senator Mole first.
Yeah, so one of the things I brought up last week is how last year I felt as though a lot of the stuff that was decided by the budget committee was sort of happening behind closed doors. Not literally, because obviously anyone could go to those budget committees, but I feel as though lots of senators weren't adequately prepped for sort of a lot of the changes that we were going to see in the budget once it actually came out. And it seemed like there was a lot of maneuvering by different bodies, basically to cut stuff here and increase things here, and by the time it reached the Senate floor and some of that maneuvering was happening there, I feel like a lot of us were blindsided. So my question is, how do you intend to keep Senate from being blindsided, especially people who are not as involved with fiscal committees or maybe can't make it out to those budget meetings, or maybe don't even know that that's something that's happening, maybe for new senators and things of that nature. But I hope that was clear enough to be answered, but I can restate that if anyone needs it.
Senator Berkman.
I believe in all sorts of transparency with funds. I'm a music business manager professionally now, and I have clients that, as creatives, don't spend a whole lot of time dealing with the financial aspects of their career, but they expect to have a trustworthy and competent person managing their finances. And so as such, I believe that it's important to maintain communication and when and if necessary, the creation of visual aids for anyone that needs them, both in this body and without.
Chair Holmes.
Yeah, so I know exactly what you're talking about. I was even caught by surprise when we had our hearing here in Senate, and there was a lot of things that I was concerned about, and it made me realize, like, I need to attend these meetings. So even if I wasn't going to be put in an alternate seat, I was going to go to the meetings because they're very important to me, especially just funding, especially of our paid student staff too. And so essentially, like, for example, like homecoming, for example. I know that a lot of students are like, why don't we have, certain people coming to homecoming? Like, I was a little upset City Girls was going to Valdosta State College, but that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, I want this to at least be a learning experience for me, but be able to use my platform to let students know what's going on, and hopefully utilize my caucus and my and our connects with organizations here on campus.
Senator Palmer.
Firstly, I'd like to thank Senator Moore for the question. It's a really awesome question based on the past circumstances. So the reason for transparency is very obvious in the current circumstance. Every senator and every student, every student should know how the ANSF budget is being allocated for their events. Personally, if there are ways to create legislations for the ANSF budget, so I would think about having YouTube live just as the Senate, and having minutes recorded for the meeting, so that any senator or any student can go and look over them and see how the allocation was made, and if they have any issues they can come to the meeting and change that. But so far, from the top of my head, that's the only suggestion I have for the time being. Thank you.
Senator Hurl.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the sentiments of everyone that has already spoke. I definitely think transparency is key, especially dealing with money and allocation of that money to various places. As how I would personally go about that, I'm not fully sure. I would definitely, if I was put on in the seat, I would definitely, if anyone had questions, would meet one-on-one to explain my experience and like what we went through during that specific point of the meeting, or full meetings throughout. But yeah.
I would like to say it looks like these budget hearings are available on YouTube. They are being broadcast for the public, as I believe everything else is available to the public. I am interested though in trying to help consolidate that information into a
Senator Brett, we're going to continue. The first part was a good point of information, though, so I appreciate it. All righty. We're now in line for questions. Chair, go.
Yeah, so could you just, every candidate, give a brief explanation of what you think the activity and service fee does, and 2 or 3 agencies that this office funds?
Okay, so we're going to start with Chair Holmes.
Was not expecting that. But I know that the ASA, why do I trip up every single time? ANSF budget is a credit hour fee that students pay in order to basically fund our agencies and departments. I know that we fund MSC, the RWC, and what was I gonna? There was one more. MSC, RWC. I'm sorry, I'm blanking out so bad right now. And I had them too. I'm so sorry. I'm like blanking out really bad. USC, MSC, and CAB. Yeah, so sorry.
Senator Palmer.
Some agencies which ANSF Business Office, as far as I know, takes around some money from each credit hour from the student fees, and it's mostly used to fund organizations such as the RSOs, the student government, the RWC, Volunteer UCF, the Multicultural Center, and all the other agencies which are distributed around campus. Thank you.
Senator Hurl.
Yeah, I know basic knowledge. I know, like Holmes said, the basic credit hours, I believe it's like around $11 per credit hour that each person pays. That goes into a big pot essentially and gets allocated to different organizations. 3 of those organizations, I'm not going to lie, I did not know these. Like, I knew of maybe 1 or 2, but I definitely did look up the ANSF website, and there's a bunch of here. Just some are like Homecoming Task Force, Late Nights, Multicultural Student Center, Office of Student Involvement, and the RWC. There's a bunch more, but yeah.
Senator Berrickman.
So there's $11.76 that comes out of every credit hour that we pay for. It comes to about $360 per year if we take 30 credits. A few of the agencies that are funded by that are the Sports Club Council, all of student government. Student legal services are provided for free for every student here. That's criminal, civil, traffic, volunteer UCF, the student union. And I think one of the critical parts of budgeting, particularly in a fiscal year, policies such as we have with a public institution, is ensuring that organizations get budgeted the amount that they will actually use. Taking a look at prior year's budgets, there are departments that maintain the entire balance of their funding or a significant portion of their funding, and then that money goes to probably nowhere. So I would like or hope to help ensure that all of that funding gets spent every year, because I know that it's funding that we're spending as students.
Alrighty, we have a minute left, so if we want to rapid fire a question, Chair Wanjin.
I guess if you can provide a quick answer on how you'll make sure what you're advocating for is and what students actually want to see.
Senator Palmer.
How their money is being spent.
Senator Hurrell.
I don't know if I fully understood that, but I would like to advocate for individuals, like smaller organizations, because it tends to be like bigger organizations always take priority, which makes sense. But I want to make sure that everyone has a fair chance.
Senator Berrickman.
Get out and talk to people and make sure that the people I talk to are represented well.
Chair Holmes.
A lot of the things that I get for advocacy and everything is directly speaking to students, and I do that often. So I don't mind going to events, speaking to students, speaking to RSO presidents, and even using, y'all see my Instagram platform to ask those questions.
Alrighty. Questioning period has elapsed. We are now in a period of debate. All those wishing to debate, please raise your hand. I saw Chair Wanjin first.
So I will be debating in favor of Chair Holmes. I think that she will be a great addition to this committee as someone who's really concerned about actually getting student input, because that's something that I think the committee struggled with a lot the past couple of years. I think she is the best person to be adding to this committee in order to truly get a good student perception. I think that Chair Holmes is somebody who is very good at doing that. Yeah.
Chair Morris.
Yeah, I totally agree with Chair Wanjin with my support of Chair Holmes. I also support Senator Berrickman. I think both the perspectives they would provide are totally different than a lot of us that are currently on the committee. I think that's really important.
Chair Gell.
I think all the people here are qualified, and I wish that all the seats were there. I think if I were to just pick off right off the bat, I would support Harrell and Berrickman, but I think that we should also take into consideration who has leadership positions already and who can be in a position to grow in leadership, and that's why I will back my support on Berrickman and Parmar, just because Harrell and Holmes already have leadership positions, and I think it's important that we allow senators to grow in different positions to gain more experience. And so I think everyone here is qualified, and this ANSF, this is an alternate seat. This is a good chance for, if they don't know all the right answers or they don't know what to do. This is a chance for them to grow. And so I'll be speaking in favor of Berkman and Parmar, but I'd like to hear more debate just because I still want to hear more debate.
I'm going to go ELA, DeMarla, and then Chair Temple.
I'm torn between Berkman and Holmes. Berkman, because I think he provides a unique perspective being a veteran. And I don't think we have had anyone like that in the A and SF budget committee for at least like what I know of. And then Holmes I always love advocacy in fiscal policy. I think that's an important aspect because fiscal is for the students. And if we forget about that, then we're not really doing it right.
Temple.
Yeah, I am also incredibly torn. All four candidates have considered themselves to be very adept at this, but I think I'm going to have to throw my lot in behind Chair Holmes on this one, because although I do respect the idea that new senators ought to be more, like senators without leadership positions ought to be given more like experience in this matter, which I actually do agree with, so it explains why I'm so torn. Chair Holmes can use her position as chair in order to really elevate the message that budget committee can really provide. And it can really shine a greater light on lesser advocated areas. And what also stuck out to me was that Holmes would have gone to the budget committee if she weren't even elected, which kind of shows that she is more than eager to join this even as an alternate seat. So even though I am incredibly torn between all four candidates, Chair Holmes ekes out barely for me.
Alrighty, Senator Nambardi.
So I will be speaking highly in favor of Senator Parmar. He is extremely dedicated. He has a lot of fiscal knowledge, even outside of Senate, which would be very useful in the ANSF budgeting committee. And he's very dedicated. He will take the time to learn what he doesn't know, and he'll ask questions. He will make sure that he's communicating with everyone in the group, just like he's always communicative in FAO, and even when we're outside of Senate. So that's why I will be voting highly in favor of Senator Parmar, but obviously all the other senators are very knowledgeable and also qualified within their own right.
I'm going to go Senator Traynor and then ILA eventually.
Yeah, I'm going to follow up on what Senator Nambardi said. Excuse me, Vice Chair Nambardi. Yeah, so Parmar, from my experience with him, has been very thoughtful, and I know that if he's put in the alternate seat for the ANSF committee, that he'll put in the work and be just as thoughtful in his time with that. And while I do think that all the candidates are qualified for it, I think that the passion that he showed tonight for wanting to run for this position makes him very qualified for it.
ILA eventually.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think all the candidates are extremely qualified. I would be happy to see any of them in the alternate seat, but my pick goes behind Chair Holmes. I think she has the most experience, a demonstrated record of leadership and dedication to student government, especially as the most innovative caucus chair, in my opinion. And I think that is a valuable perspective to have on the ANSF budget committee, even if not as a direct member, even as the member of an alternate seat. And she has passion for it, and I think she's up to the job, and I'm going to be voting for Chair Holmes, and I encourage my fellow senators to do so as well. Although I must remind everyone, vote your conscience. Anybody on that list would do a great job in that seat.
Vice Chair Castle.
Yeah. First, I want to say I'm happy for everyone putting themselves out for running, and I love seeing new senators trying to get involved. But I do have to say I'm supporting Chair Holmes for the ASNF's alternate seat only because I do feel like she would be able to bring a different, a greater perspective to the committee that has already been selected within student advocacy on different groups and different areas on campus. And just bring more diversity within that perspective. And I did probably 2 months ago, I know I was speaking to Chair Holmes, and I know she's very passionate and was very interested on how the ASNF budget hearing would go for the the next fiscal year. So I know this is something that she was very passionate about previously. So that's where my support lies.
Alrighty. Are there any other senators wishing to debate? Chair Temple?
Motion, Mr. Speaker.
You may.
Move to vote on the ANSF alternative seat.
There's been a motion to vote. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. Alrighty, with a vote count of 4 to 22 to 9 to 1, Chair Holmes is elected as the ANSF alternate. Chair Holmes.
May I say something real quick? I want to thank everyone who voted for me and spoke in favor. Even if you didn't speak in favor of me, I really respect your debate. And thank you for everyone who ran. You guys ran amazingly. And just thank you so much. Your kind words mean so much to me. And that's all from me.
Alrighty, moving along. Foster's fit check. Pro Tem Foster.
Let's get to it. Honorable. I know you dressed up because you want to be number one every week, but I'm going to go with Aiden. I gave you number one last week, but I got to put you on the list this week. So we're going to go with trainer, vice chair trainer right here. Shirt is amazing. Ooh, this is tough. Very hard. You know what? I like your recommendation earlier, Vihan, even though it's a little bit disrespectful. 3, we're going to go with Wanjin over there. Wanjin's number 3. Let's go with Wanjin. All right, 2. Pro Temp's office decided to match without me, but they look good along with Chair Temple, 3 Musketeers. So I'm going to have to give them that spot right there at number 2. And then, oh my God, this is one of the funniest shirts I've ever seen. Everybody's probably already seen it, but I'm going to have to give it to Senator Putty. Yeah.
Alrighty, before we motion to adjourn, 2 quick mini updates. I'll allow Aloe first.
I love how kind you guys are wanting to collect the name tags for me, but please actually just leave them because they're in a very specific order and it took Netta like 30 minutes to organize them earlier. So yeah, you can just leave them. Thank you though. You are all very kind.
Okay, so 2 quick updates. The first one being next Tuesday. Some might be aware, but the President of the United States is coming to Orlando. Specifically, I have been told Rollins College. Cool for Rollins, but it is open to the public. So if you would like to see Joseph Robinette Biden, more than happy to go next Tuesday. I believe it starts at 3. And the last thing is spooky season is upon us. I know there are many that are excited. Keep October 27th or November 3rd in your minds because we will have a Halloween dressed up Senate. So we haven't finalized the date, but just keep that in mind. You know, we don't want to dress up and there's like something really awkward going on. So like we're gonna evaluate what day is best, as well as potentially work to maybe see a little spooky movie or something in the chamber or somewhere else. So I will first, before we move on, are there questions from me about any of that? Vice Chair Kesselin?
Is October 27th T-Pain night? Is that homecoming? Yeah.
Ooh, that might be. All right, so it sounded like November 3rd then. All righty. Any other questions? Senator Moda.
You said that the president is coming to Rollins?
Yes, the president of the United States, like the real.
Yeah, can we get more? Yeah, I know. Can we get more information on that, like in the group me or something?
I can send out the way that you sign up and whatnot.
Thank you.
Oh, all right. Yeah, T-Pain is the 27th, so I don't know about that. All right, let's decorum for a couple seconds here. Vice Chair Becerra. You raised your hand.
Move to adjourn pending final roll call.
There's been a motion to adjourn pending final roll call. Are there any objections? Do you withdraw? Who? Chair Temple?
Thank you, Chair Tache. Move to adjourn pending final roll call.
There's been a motion to adjourn pending final roll call. Are there any objections? No. We are now there. LJR Chair Urea. And like I said, as a reminder, everyone, please do not pack up until we are done. Thank you.
Trainer.
Here.
Tribble. Mole.
Here.
Potier. Moda.
Present.
Kira.
Here.
Nimbargi.
Present.
McClellan.
Present.
Millington.
Present.
Temple.
Present.
Capozzi.
Present.
Caldwell.
Present.
Robbins.
Present.
Spalding.
Present.
Castello. Parmar.
Present.
Simcoe. Wanjin.
Present.
Domino.
Present.
Foster.
Present.
Shalal. Becerra.
Present.
Gell.
Present.
Yalaman Chili.
Present.
Heightskill.
Present.
Demarla.
Here.
Patel.
Here.
Uchoa.
Here.
Harrell.
Present.
Borges.
Here.
Barrickman.
Here.
Almanar. Anderson.
Present.
Castleman.
Present.
Sorry. Hall.
Here.
Holmes.
Present.
Costas.
Here.
Martin.
Present.
Saucedo.
Present.
Tache.
Here.
Brenner.
Here.
38 out of 42. Quorum is verified.
Y'all, I nailed that. I adjourn at 10:30 p.m.